Okay, so you get two goals today. One of them is to uh, basically go over armor perks and talk about which ones are best in slot. The other is to win this war. Tank build still looks pretty similar to what it has in the past. I don't think anything's really changed since the last time we streamed it. Hurst, yeah. What's up, Victor? Victor and Grando fighting for the first spot, man. So there's one other thing that's happening too that I don't think a lot of people realize, but AGS puts out bug fixes when they take down events, which means that we're getting bug fixes on Tuesday, I believe. That's the last day of the event. What's the plan of the attack today, sir? That tier list that we tried to do yesterday. Gonna give it another go, but we're just gonna talk about PvP, and then if we have time, we'll do another one for PvE. So we'll make it, you know, a little bit easier to digest and not like as convoluted as before. And just that basically just it makes an assumption that people will have a PvP set and a PvE set, which I think is an okay assumption to make at this point. Did my stats just go down when I put the... What? I don't know what just happened. I thought my stats just went down. Oh, it's when I switch weapons, right? If I have flail out, yeah, if I have a flail out, my physical armor goes down. That makes sense, because you have a physical armor bonus when you have the SNS out. So I have like 4,000 physical armor, which is kind of a lot. Spent 5 hours farming an armor's hat today, didn't drop. Feels bad, man. I was first on YouTube. True kit. First. Dude, I'm so tired today. Like, I feel like I've been tired for the last couple of days, but we went boating and we went out where we don't normally go. Like, we went into like deep water with like 1 to 2 foot swells, which isn't much, but for the boat we have, it's a lot, and like it was bouncy. Got a little wet. It's kind of fun. So I just, I guess this is one thing that happened off stream. I got my Arcana up to 250, which is kind of nice. So now I can craft armor matrices, but armor matrices require a component. They require honing acid and they require a component from weaponsmithing 250. So my next goal is to get weaponsmithing in 250, but this is like relatively difficult to do. And it's very expensive to do. So it's like, I don't know if I can go for that yet, or if I just need to focus on economy for a bit. Yeah, unless you just troll like me needs the PvP set for PvE. I mean, I do that pretty often too, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really matter. But then, like, this is like the first time in a while where I like actually have PvE sets. Like, this is my PvE DPS set, mostly using for the worm. I didn't stream it, but we did the worm today in about 15 minutes. Like, literally just like one-shot it. It was kind of nice because the group's experienced. And then I got my solo tank PvE set too, which is all right. The other main set that we need to figure out is this one. I was thinking about it, and it's like, I think there's 2 avenues I can go if this feels too greedy. The first one, which I think makes a little bit more sense, is we drop our focus from 350 to 200 and put the rest in the con. That will make us a lot tankier, and then we can keep the magnetic gauntlets. And then if that... The other one that we could do is we could run Void Darkplate and drop Mag Gauntlets. Both of those should make that build feel a lot better. Weaponsmithing is terrible. I'm only 188. You don't make any money off of weaponsmithing until you get to 250. Hey, let's go. Can we still do it the same way before the new patch? What do you mean by it? It just said like 3 things. In terms of weaponsmithing, like the way that you go about leveling up weaponsmithing is you just get one of basically every single pattern, and then you just craft those. The Night Veil stuff is a pretty good thing to go for too, because I think you could use it at lower tiers and it gives a good amount of XP. Let me get the people in here too, in terms of what it is. Is it festival again? Or is this CWA? I think it's CWA actually. Not 100% sure. They feel like the same company. I know they're very different companies, but they feel like the same company to me when I fight them. In terms of like, they both have better kill squads than us, but they both have like really shitty main balls. So it plays like the exact same, even though they're 2 different companies. Where we have to be like really, really aggressive as a main ball, which I love. I love being aggressive as a main ball. It's always super, super fun. Hey man, what is that chest? Void Dark Plate? You got this you get this from B&B, particles and a black powder. It's from the mutation. What it basically does is it increases your armor by 20%. And this makes my armor, like, really, really high. Like, I have 4,000 physical armor, which is why, like, I don't really take damage in wars right now. Like, unless my shield, like, breaks or something like that, like, it's really hard for me to take damage. miicrow, do we feel confident about the full perk tier list today? Crush, I've not touched it, but I figure I can edit it, like, right after this. What perks do we need? We needed freedom, we needed vigor, we needed, invig, and, like, refreshing. So we could throw in those 4 perks, take out like 2 or 3 of them, and just do the armor one for PvE or do the armor one for PvP and maybe PvE today. I think that will be the plan. Yeah, so we just need to add 4 perks. If you still have the link, you feel free to do it during the war. If you don't want to do it during the war, I'll do it after. It doesn't matter to me. But I just need to link to the perk. I think I took care of everything from the videos. I realized I put out that fire staff build and I forgot to link the fire staff build, so I did that after I got home today. So that's finally up there. That fire staff build is like there's a tree in there. The tree that I'm using in there is more PV, like mid to large scale PvEP oriented, and in small scale you never take meteor shower, but mid to large meteor shower is a must. Okay, let me get into TeamSpeak too. Is Firestaff Abyss a thing in war? It is in certain kill squads. It's not super, super common, but it is a thing.
Everything built up.
Bro, MVP almost sold me last round.
Is this the Merc War? Maximum amount of Mercs per team? Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, we had to match them. They're at like 17.
This is the first Cosmic Dopamine Chicken Man Festival War.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus, is this your first war back?
Nope.
Is this your second war back?
Well, like competitive war, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Remember he gave you that sunrise, bro.
I remember, yeah. Sorry, Brusty.
That's worked.
I'm just saying, Brusty, you're not getting Prio. It's gonna be work. So if I have to pick between both of you.
Alright, don't worry. 1 more minute, y'all. 1 more minute. Once again, please pop your consumes, unequip or equip your gear if you haven't.
Oh, you're saying you don't need it and work needs it?
Yeah, like I don't need.
Wait, I have refreshing move craft mods. Surely those were something.
Like,
Yeah,
you can put me in group 10 if you want.
They were the other day.
You wanna give,
Yeah.
you wanna give it to
Just
me,
put me on
Billy?
squad DPS.
I just realized I had these.
Billy, you wanna give it to me?
You and me, motherfucker.
Look, Morgan these.
Chooser, don't forget the BBC.
I know, the BBC.
Bunchers, can I get comms for you real quick? So
Yo,
Rumbling down,
Alright.
bro.
Yeah, I don't know why Bunties is always so quiet for me.
Always. Oh, like I'm low for you?
Yeah,
Nah,
I need to new
he's,
open.
he's normally high for me. I have him at minus 18.
I put him up.
All right, 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
Lock in.
Let's get dialed.
Why do we even start off in the middle? Shouldn't we just start off on the right side?
Because if they start off at B, you always beat them at C.
Yeah, we have to split first.
Bang.
There you go, B.
All right, be ready here. Be ready. Looks like they're out big B. They're out big B.
Oh, you're right.
No, there's some
They have at
C
least
too.
they have 10, 15, 15 going C.
Okay, 15 going C. I want
Second,
A19 at C. A19 at C. Actually, no, we're going to 6, 9, 10, 6, 9, 10 to C.
I'm pulling back, that's fine. I'm looking top left.
Yeah, second
Yeah,
top.
I'm gonna
There
go.
you go.
6 to C, please.
Thank you. Should be good.
Good shit, guys. Let's make sure we're matching. Give A, give A.
Pushing easy out top
Let me know
right.
if you need more at C.
I'm shocking your mid right. Stop.
He got screwed.
Bigger stuff
Just let me know if you need more.
Yeah, Big Mac is like trying to go infinite over here.
Slow, play it slow.
Having about right.
I'm looking at cap.
Yeah, I got that.
So be looking for the sitting off the stairs. Actually, off the stairs. Make sure we're stepping in that B. Step in.
Top middle.
Yeah, just come quick on.
Good shit, yo. Continue to play the slow.
Shielding you center point circle.
Maybe do mid right.
Yep. Shielding top
They're
left.
moving top left. They're sitting. They're sitting. Top up now. 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 Go, 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 go.
Yeah, the court, on the court.
Make sure we're standing right. Slide right. Slide right. Slide right.
We need a support right center a little bit.
I was taking mid right.
Look at
Second
top
mid
right.
right.
Top right. Top right.
Okay.
Just continue to
Maybe
play
them
careful.
remind you to
Play
play
slow
bottom
here.
left. Top bottom left. Top bottom left first. Top bottom left.
Good shit. Good shit.
Yeah, help left. Help left.
Second mid
They're
left.
getting chased off the point by like 10. Keep them off. They all chasing me.
Continue to play slow here. Play slow.
Play slow here, guys. We're good.
We got the
We're
other
good.
stuff going on.
I'm pulling up top now.
Don't get too antsy.
Okay,
Grabbing top
All
left.
right, thank you.
Okay, I'm playing mid left.
30 no zoom.
You have shield top right.
I'm playing in our room.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab one you receive.
They have respawns coming to B. It's starting to tick.
Their respawns are headed B. Just continue to play slow. It's on them.
Big crasher. Maybe bait.
They're
It's
huge
bait.
on right. They're huge on right.
We need
Just
to
play
rep
slow.
left side.
Play
We need to rep
careful
left
there.
side.
Yeah, I'm helping top left.
Good left right now.
They're looking to crasher top right.
Here's an idea. We just gotta
I'm helping top right.
Yeah,
They might crash top right.
I'm coming Bob up.
Helping her top right.
Play slow.
Top right. Secret top middle.
splitting. One tip, let's go.
Okay, they're splitting 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10. It was strong side quad DPS to C. 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10. And strong side quad
Just
DPS to
step on
C.
for 5
We need to
seconds. See
step
what
quick.
the tick is looking like. We need to push off.
Oh, that's a good amount of people there. That's like 20.
Yeah, I was taking top right. Taking top right.
Yeah, secret top left.
Just be taking right.
Testing Pepper.
I'm stepping bottom right here. See.
Okay.
Look at mid right. Dropping mid right.
Thank you.
Shield is top center mid.
Here, play slow here.
Look at Gerb.
Second top right. Second
Maybe
We,
Put a 2 back to me. Put a 2 back to me. 5 and 6 stay until that's D10. Put a 2 back to me.
Get up one B. Get up one
top mid bottom right.
Yeah, they just need to play point and see.
we're almost back.
Yeah, I was
10 seconds.
taking mid right. Taking mid
We're
right.
back here at B.
Stop right. Stop right.
Might be looking to crash B very soon here.
This is a combo.
Imp is calling. Imp is calling.
Mid left and one. Mid left, mid left, mid left.
you have shield center point. Shield center point. Find the shield. Find the shield.
10 seconds.
Looking top left. Push top left.
Taking top right. Taking mid right. I'm stepping mid right. Stepping mid right. Going Millie. There was three.
1.
Yeah, we're just down. We're good.
Lead by clowns.
Get your cleanse. Get your cleanse.
10 seconds.
We need to clear bombs. That easy. See here. We know those guys. Clock's in the top right immediately.
Taking mid right.
4,
On C.
3,
Respawn happy now. Make sure we're keeping that ball. You're pushing into that now. Respawn just hit you.
Don't let
There's
them
a
come
chance they push now.
Yeah, by
They're not resetting. They're like half resetting. They're not even resetting. They're pushing in.
Yeah, they're trying to disrupt buys.
We need people on bonfire. They're coming from
Yeah.
Make sure we're meeting that bond. Make sure we're
3,
meeting that
2,
bond.
1. Respawns now.
Yeah, so going like bomb.
Taking the bottom.
Yep.
10
They're
seconds.
group 8 0. We need to make sure we're matching.
Dropping his one.
Playing our road heavy. They're crashing our road.
They're playing into our road big. Healers, you're already going to have to just push to their road. Push to their road.
Supporting top right. Supporting top right.
Yeah, I'm going to come there.
Okay.
Smiting top right.
10
They're
seconds.
going to try to
They're
push to
heavy
their
right
road.
now, they're like flooding off though.
Just continue to play slow.
Five.
Play slow. Play slow. Oppo is fucked now.
2.
They're about to crash on the right.
Respawn now.
Talking here, top
Yeah, I'm just getting out of that.
Good shit. Just continue to play slow here.
Careful right there. Careful mid right. Careful mid right.
They're huge right.
Careful, they're
Take it
crashing.
back to mid left. Take it back.
They're looking for a crash. They're looking for a crash.
Almost holding.
Take it back.
That's a couple.
Okay, yeah.
Careful, we have
They
some.
want to send. They want to send. They're sitting right. They're sitting right. They're sitting right.
Right side.
Top right now. 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 Top right now.
Push off the top. I'm gonna push off the top right. Yeah.
10 seconds.
They're crashing.
Respawn
You have
side.
shield right mid. Shield right mid.
3, 2, 1. Respawn
I'm
now.
going to have to Sergey side with ability crash.
Take it back. Right.
We got you wider.
Ability crash.
Okay, but I'm playing bot right now.
3,
1 second.
abilities, bot right now, bot right now, bot right now, bot right now. Abilities.
Tripped him center. You're good.
Take it back to
Now,
bot.
we're going to be looking for a sin. Again, healers, make sure you're in their road at this point.
5,
Careful, top left.
3,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to hurt.
2,
We got you bunters. Well, maybe. Bunters needs ST.
Take it back to
They're sitting right there. They want to sit right there.
20 seconds.
They're served right. Left is free. Left is free.
having our road.
Yep, you got shield top mid.
Did they send that?
They did ascend. They didn't have debt.
Okay. We're going to look at ability
Yeah.
crash. We're trying to control their death skill. We're going bot right, free. Bot
Take it
right.
back.
Make it fast. Bot right. Bot right. Bot right. Bot right. Fast, 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 fast. Lead.
Lining up.
Good. They're sitting out. They're sitting out. Here we go. Back to bot right now. Bot right now. Bot right now. Bot right now.
Take your top.
You have shield up.
10 seconds.
Careful, they got long spawns. We got long spawns coming up.
5, 2,
Vortexing left. You can declump.
Make sure we're still stepping into this point big. Step into this point big.
Play loosen off. Play loosen. It's slow tick. It's not fast. It's slow tick.
Good.
20 seconds.
They're just trying to
Spread out
dodge.
on left side. Spread out on left side. Spread out on left side. We're getting really pumped there.
Take your top left.
Take it.
Look at it, Dane. Top left.
10 seconds.
Good shit, guys. Good shit. They're going to reset here, it looks like.
Look, ASMR top. ASMR top.
3, 2,
Walling it.
1. Respawn now.
Where's my mouse? I don't know where my mouse
Make
went.
sure you're keeping your eye on Oppo. If Oppo gets overran like that again, you're shifting to their road immediately.
20 seconds.
There's a good chance they try to push in a big through our ramparts also, so just play
15.
careful.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I took your top left on you guys.
Respawns
Yeah.
now.
They're big in ramparts.
What?
It's like
They went around the fort?
7.
There is a bit over 270 right now.
20 seconds.
Still stand. Nice.
All quad
I'm
DPS
still
are
kind of
probably
top left
playing
as well.
rams.
Yeah, take something.
Playing our road quad DPS.
Take it. But this is on bond.
I'm gonna help top right now. I'm moving towards top
Pushing
right.
in on bond now.
On the road.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Grabbing all the way out here.
Respawns
Pushing in
now.
on bond. They're moving straight to the right side. Right side.
Take it.
You have shield top.
Look at legit top left.
20 seconds.
Tripping him.
Good shit, good shit.
I'm vortexing right here. Oh wait, that's the wrong ability.
Supporting our top right. Supporting jump. So
Yeah, careful. We need help top right and they're crashing.
They're not trying right side.
Okay, no, they're good. We're good. No.
Take it to left.
Apples is top right. They're calling.
2, 1.
I'm going to sit top left. 3, top
No, not top left. There's nothing.
Top middle. Take your top middle.
Top in now, top in now, top left.
Vortexing here.
Having ball left. Take it to left. Take it to left.
Yep. It's another thing. Yep.
Alright, wedges now. What's happening?
Get out of that.
2, 1.
Sitting top right.
Clapping, get out.
You have shield up.
Reset top right now, 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 top right now.
20 seconds.
Take him mid left.
Shield up again.
Yeah, bot left side.
Just continue to work this out.
10 seconds.
Buddy and legit are both AV. Alright, just stay on. Go back to top. Go back to top.
5,
Take a bunch of stuff.
4,
Yep.
3,
Ball left.
2,
I have 10 to
Good
get.
shit, guys. Good shit. We're going to be looking
now.
ability send. We're going to be
Mid left is
looking
getting
ability
close.
send on left.
Mid left is
Abilities
getting
left,
Yeah,
three,
catching
left,
now.
and
Just,
two.
I'm showing you you're good.
Abilities.
They died.
Alright, leave.
Vortexing, declump.
Tapping ball right.
5,
Vortexing.
1.
Tapping ball right.
36 seconds.
Shield is top mid, moving to right. Moving shield to right.
30 seconds.
Shield is bottom right.
Ball through this dash.
1 second.
Find your sacreds, find your sacreds.
Free right now. You can play bonfire side for free.
15,
Yep, going top.
10 seconds.
Up top right. We need to take
Angel tripped.
Left side still free.
3, 2, 1. Respawn now.
Dude, they got. Who is Angel and why are they stepping on point with spear?
30 seconds.
Going to their road. You're going to their road.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm trying to bully top right now.
Tip the scales.
They're big and bottom of the point.
Is that, is that apples?
Careful. Take top left.
And we're getting crashed.
I was thinking you were tapping ball right.
1.
Shield is center if you need.
Alright, guys. Okay, now spread her back
Take a
out.
bunch
Spread
of
her back out.
top
Spread her
right.
back out.
Tapping ball right.
We have good respawn with right now.
Our respawns are in.
1
They're
second.
really fat bottom right.
One for bar.
Play careful left. Play careful left. You're big left. You're big left.
15,
Take a bunch of ball point.
10 seconds.
Tucking your
Tapping
left.
ball right. Tapping ball
Good
right.
shit, guys. Good shit. Just continue to play slow here. Continue to play slow.
Yeah, I'm center point right now.
They want to send. They want to send. They want to send. Play it slow. Respawn happen.
Now.
They're sending right.
Now they're right.
No deaths, fake send.
30 seconds.
Helping soft.
They're sending on mid. They ability craft. They just
They're just doing abilities.
Careful, they're getting us.
1
just slow playing
second.
right now. Slow play.
Shield is top center if you need.
Just play top left for free.
Okay, they're gonna crash here. They have to.
10
Tapping mid
seconds.
right.
I'm gonna vortex here early. Declump pre-timer. Declump.
5, 4, 3, 1.
Tapping ball right. Take a
I'm closing. I need more.
yeah. Okay, again.
Respawns are headed in.
1
Respawns are
second.
wrapping left.
Wrap bonfire for free. Wrap bonfire for free.
1
Bonfire's free.
second.
Wrap left. Wrap left. Wrap left.
Okay, I have abilities again.
We're going to be looking for an ability crash.
Tapping
And
top
we're going
right.
to send it on left in 3, left in 2. Mid left now, 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 mid left now.
They mostly got out.
Taking ball.
Step on that right side, right side, right side, right side, right side. We're resending top left in 3.
Should be good. I got showed up.
Right now, right now, right now,
30 seconds.
Our time's crashing in now, watch out.
Vortexing moving top. Vortexing moving top.
We're going to go for another ability crash.
Docking top right.
We're going to send right in 3. We're going to send right in 2.
10
Top right
seconds.
abilities, top right abilities, top right abilities, top right abilities, top right abilities. Go, 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 go. Lead.
Bob,
Good. Work that left side. Work that left side now.
Supporting top right. Supporting top right.
Tip the scales. No tomb top.
Just slowly be taking care of
What's dog? What's dog? What's dog bot right? Dog bot right.
right now.
20 seconds.
Look, Griv.
Good.
Grib top right. Grib off point right. Nice.
10 seconds.
Bot left. River. Tripping river.
1.
Nice, nice, nice.
Now.
Everyone should have one haste.
Happer, I don't need to haste, I don't die.
Point is so hard to play this minute.
Keep
Feels
playing
like.
the same. Keep playing the same.
Good shit.
The
Good
name
shit.
plays are fucking me up.
Play patient.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
You need to step off for a second.
20
Make sure
seconds.
we're ready to meet them in bond. Make sure we're ready to meet them in bond. Looks like their bot quad's helping top right now. Or helping Rainbow, sorry.
My game just
10
keeps fucking
seconds.
cutting out.
They're going to be pushing in now.
Body block Gent, body block Gent. Oh, nice, good. Yeah, he's denying the kegs.
Bomb down.
Respawn
Thirty
just
seconds.
I'm watching
going
top left
to
right
push.
now.
Look at Waldo.
They're wrapping for their push now.
This can die. Careful bottom bomb. Careful bottom
Be
bomb.
careful bottom bomb. We're kind of overextended there.
Yeah, this is both on.
He's kind of like
Take
top
it,
left
take
number.
it, one, two, stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're actually pushing.
They're pushing big into bond. Come on,
Yeah.
make it over bond.
Come on,
They're
Daniel.
pushing
They're
the
cheating
ramp.
to our road.
Daniel's way overextended.
Healers, you're shifting right already. You might have to just pass their ghost squad. Be careful.
1.
Yeah, just take it top left, take it top left.
44 seconds timer.
Helping Micro bottom. I'm helping Micro bottom under.
Shitting it was
Yeah, I'm about to move top again.
Make sure we're just playing this slow. Play Raven.
Look at Waldo right, Waldo right, bottom point now.
You're going to early send.
He's good, he got healed.
Playing loose. I got everything now.
Yeah, full combo.
I'm walling.
Just
I'm
play
walling.
slow. They want that right side send. They want that right side send right now.
Left side, a little juicy.
They're big on left. They're big on left.
Come on, Daniel.
Tripping Daniel, tripping Daniel.
10 seconds.
Yeah, he's dead. Nice.
Okay, I'm going top right.
Actually,
One
I'm
tip
on
the scales, top left.
5, 4, 3,
They're big on our road already. They're big on our road
Mid
already.
right.
Big lights up.
bomb
Shit. We need more sacreds on point. We need more sacreds on point.
Top right. We're going to ability send.
There's like 2 stacked on top of each other on the right, and that's
Take
it.
it top point.
Now there's 3 on the right, and that's
No,
it.
they're sending. They're sending. They're sending. They're sending.
30 seconds.
We're just slow. We're slow.
I'm grabbing
We're
top
just
left on
slow.
Waldo.
the left side.
Luching
Just trying to
down.
draw out.
Okay, Lucci.
They're big in bottom. They're big in the bottom.
Take it top left, take it top
Get
left.
up right. Up top right off point then.
They're bottom left massive.
Yeah,
They're shifting right. They're shifting right.
Okay, careful right, careful right. Come back top mid. Top mid is
5
Yeah, plenty
seconds.
of Daniel top left.
Yeah, we have a sacred up
Continue
here.
to play this slow.
5,
Careful mid right. Careful mid
4,
right.
You got shield center point.
2, 1. Respawn.
We're slowly playing. They're going to sit. Respawn just happened. They know they have to sit.
40 seconds.
Top left on the light. We're not standing.
Drop it. Come on, Daniel, delay.
They're looking top. They're looking top.
I'm gonna flip them.
30 seconds.
They're going top right, I think.
They want to play top right. They might just ability
They
sit.
went
Yeah,
to
they all just went to top.
Tapping
They
mid
all just
right.
shifted to top.
I'm dead. Group 2 healer deck. Group 2 healer deck.
Bring back
20
top.
seconds. 20
Play
seconds.
slow.
20
Slow.
seconds.
20 seconds of respawn.
Hopping left, hopping left.
I'm just going bottom.
Yeah,
They
Talking
need
for
to
left.
They're crashed on.
Yes. They're sitting. Right, we're going to wait on it. We're going to wait on it.
10
They need to
seconds.
sit. Bot right. 3. Bot right. And 2. Mid right now. Mid right now.
5, 4,
Coming out road.
40 seconds.
Good. Grab top.
Take it top right.
We're waiting for response and we'll reset with
50
response
meters.
here. Waiting for response and we'll reset with those.
Okay, you're on tapping our road.
30
I'm playing bottom left
seconds.
right now.
Grab that left. Grab that left. Grab that left.
I can't get it. Yeah.
Grab
Our road's fine, our road's
Oppo, I'm
We're
Oppo.
going to be sitting top.
Shield is center point to right.
Seconds.
Look, Angel Reese, alright?
They're sitting right. Abilities.
I'm playing top left, top left. Play.
They're sending on flag.
5,
Need care, need care.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
40 seconds.
Look, center point rolling. Oh, he's tank. Never mind. Yep, with you top right.
30 seconds.
Roger, center point. Roger, bottom center. He's good. Shield is center point. Shield is center point. If you need shield, come center. I'm tripped. I'm up now.
20 seconds.
Vortexing. Tip scales.
10 seconds.
Tip right side. ASMR melee. River.
Take it top right.
It's good.
Respawn time.
We can get easy maybe.
Looking bottom left.
Yeah,
Make sure you have
Get stagger, get stagger.
Make sure you have your coins. Make sure you have your haste.
Don't let me see
30 seconds.
Bye.
Get your buy, get your buy, get your buy. Good shit, guys. We're still
Don't get
playing
caught in a
discipline.
retard.
Way to hold your ghettos for me. I know they took forever to send, but way to play
20
discipline.
seconds.
Dude, they get back so fast. There's like no time.
Why is he in typing?
Tapping bot left.
10 seconds.
Looking top bottom.
Yes, I got
Shocking
you.
here on Daniel.
Hold on, I gotta go. Coming on you.
3,
Just play this slow.
1. Respawn now.
Careful, careful. Careful.
I grabbed on
They
40
want to push big
seconds.
on this pond. They want to send it. They're
like
already
front to back
wrapping,
again.
right? They're already wrapping. They're already
Just
big
take
wrap.
top,
They're
top,
going to
top.
delay push on
Those
pond
are
here,
two
so
other
just
nodes.
play that very carefully.
30 seconds.
They're sending
Tapping our road, tapping our road. I'm gonna push, take it top left, take it top left.
I'm supporting
Okay,
this.
good.
Just ability. Just ability.
They just
One.
quickly crash.
Yeah, that's not gonna
Look
work.
at Daniel.
Take it top left, take it top left.
Their bonfire is in now. Their bonfire is in now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shield an Oppo.
Right, super big. They're make sure they got all the control immediately.
Careful, guys. Just come back.
We're waiting. We're waiting to see.
3,
Right,
take it
second,
with
they
the-
get back.
1. Respawns now.
Oh my god, they're crashing.
Yeah, I'm just gone. Nice.
Start top left, start top left, start left.
They're gonna have to
Tapping our road, tapping our road.
Fucking him in left on the
Take
light.
it top left, take it top left.
They're big on right side still. They're big on right
30
side.
seconds.
Bot, bot.
30 on respawns. We got long respawns here.
Still on light top
Good
left.
shit, Hawk, right? Good shit.
Powers the left. Grabbing top left. Daniel in the light. Daniel.
20 seconds.
The wall behind you.
Got left side, work on
Cosmetic
left side.
potions and cleanse. Yeah, that cleanse did nothing there. I was so done though. I was out of position and I'm not running the barrage right now because I forgot to switch my tree.
Big bot left right now.
Trip doesn't feel bad, but barrage is
They
way
want to
better than
play
trip.
left side right now. They want to play left side.
Respawns now.
They gotta start
looking
sending
bottom.
on bond.
They
They
might send bottom,
so
but
just
I'm
play
not.
slow. They want to send left.
I'm grabbing
and
your
right.
bullet.
They're going to probably send left with their respawns in.
We have complete road, their road control, Hopper. Complete control.
Yeah, we have their
40
road.
I'm in our road.
Healers, you're in their
I'm
road.
healing on top
Healers, you're in
right
their
now.
road. We have all of their road. We have all of their road
Look
right
at our
now.
backline. Our backline's getting raped. Don't go.
I'm gonna grab this bottom mid.
Yeah.
Healers, you're in their road. We have their road.
30
Careful,
seconds.
left.
Mid left.
Yeah, we're perfect top right. We're perfect.
River can dive on left. Stand, left side. He's gonna stand. They have to regroup again. They have to regroup. Look at
They're like
Apple.
semi. They're not
Play
actually.
slow. If they are going to
They're
send,
just
they
gonna
are
stay
going to
here
send
by
right
They are
now.
regrouping. They are regrouping.
They're playing a they're
No, they're
playing a
not going all the
soft
way back.
reset. They're soft resetting here. They're wrapping. They're starting to wrap with combo.
10
I'm gonna support a kill
seconds.
scout talking point right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at
I'm sicker than me, dude.
Yeah, I'm with you.
5,
We're getting kills.
4,
Looking at you.
Yeah, be careful.
Two,
So Rainbow's-
one.
They're
Look
sending
at
they're
that.
starting to wrap with like all of their main roads right now.
I got you.
Just stop left.
Okay.
Their kill squad's dead. They're going to have to wait
Pushing
another
into
respawn.
forest.
Okay,
Right
Miko.
above you, Miko.
Thanks, I'm backing up.
Take it, Yumiko.
Yeah, we back up. We back up. Good cat.
Cap maybe? I could trip
Slow
him.
playing, slow playing. They're full reset. They full reset now.
Stagger. Keep them staggered.
30 seconds.
30 seconds on respawn.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
I've got stone. We're probably
Those spawns are
fine.
long. Those guys are gonna be dead for a while. They didn't catch
I'm looking bottom on the jet.
Look at that legit right on top of bonfire.
We're
Stop
slow
on, stop
playing,
on.
guys. Do not overextend here. Do not be
We got bottom line.
Hopper, you know I'm stupid.
Yeah, but you know, I can't help it.
Okay, I'm
Alright,
going top
they
box.
might be
Take
pushing
it, Buntu.
our
Oh my
road
God,
here.
I'm up,
They're pushing
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
2,
Look at unflagged. Unflagged trolled.
15 seconds.
Tapping our road.
A lot. Still a lot. Still a
The
lot.
road has a lot
Okay,
in
take
it.
me. I'm healing myself. I can't get you. I got you now.
Bottom right. Okay.
40 seconds.
Be careful left side. They're going to early send here. They have to early
I'm
send.
gonna put Sacred in mid left. I think
You're
it's
top
left.
of
2
the
seconds.
Take him to
Okay, Sacred
I'm
left.
contesting the top.
30
I'm
30 on respawn. 30 on respawn.
holding everything.
Alright, it's fucking huge. 30 seconds of range. Probably 20 now.
Maybe callers.
20
Take it
seconds.
top right.
Careful top left. Solo dead.
Play slow. They're sitting top left.
3 people solo
They
dead.
just sent top right.
They sent top
Yeah,
left.
they just did some
We're
recon
going to
shit. They
send
didn't send
very
in.
soon.
Take him Sacred left.
Yeah, they
30
just all
seconds.
We're sitting mid left down, mid left down, mid left down, mid left down, mid left down.
5, 4,
Oh my god, you
Respawn's
pop like a
down.
stick.
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
1. Respawns now.
Respawn just hit. Respawn just hit. They're
Tapping top right.
They're all shouting. They can't make a couple left.
Take it mid left, take it mid left.
Mid right.
40 seconds on respawn. 40 seconds on respawn. We're back to life. We're back to life.
Tapping our road.
Play top right. You can play top right.
They're begging for
Take it mid left.
You can play top right 4-3.
Top right,
Looking at
three,
river
they
top.
want to sit left here. They ability sit left. They ability sit
1
left. They ability sit
second.
left. We're going to just send abilities.
Vortexing left, moving right.
We're going to send abilities top left in 2. Top left now. 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 Top left now.
Shocking this.
Mid left.
I'm on easy, I'm on easy.
Leave it. Right side's fairly free for us. Right side's fairly free.
We'll have
Respawn
guys
time.
Heavy right now.
Talking mid left.
Mid right.
They're big in our road
1
again.
minute
Healers, you're to
respawn.
theirs. Or you're just laying off.
Take it top right.
Careful, they're taking us playing left side. They're taking us left side.
Yeah, I'm looking to trip them if they go for if we go for something.
Long our respawns. 50 seconds now. 50 seconds.
40 seconds.
Trying to shield this left mid.
They didn't even see.
Slow play, slow play, slow play. We don't need to rush anything.
I got you beyond,
I'm out now.
Yeah.
Top right.
Bombs are in 30.
They're sitting right, they're sitting right, they're sitting right.
Tapping our road.
Are they sending or are they dying right? I can't tell. Oh, now they're sending.
Take it benches. Hey benches.
20 seconds.
Bombs are in 20. Bombs are in 20.
Okay, go spawn point mid flank left side.
Be careful left side, play that left side now, play that left, play that left.
Take it from left, take it from left.
Groove bottom right can die.
Take your bomb.
Groove bottom right is like actually running around like he's just dead. Okay.
Respawns down, spread out,
One
spread out, spread out, spread out, spread out.
respawns now.
Okay, spawns are not. Just play with your region.
Right, they did sit, they did sit.
Careful.
Bottom
Play with your
Respawns
nut
pick a
stack.
bonfire for free.
Slow
Respawns pick
play,
a bonfire.
play on green.
50 seconds.
Shield is top right. I just teleported and came back. Okay.
Starting to push back up a little bit.
Yeah,
They have no color.
Take it top left, take it top
get
left.
ready to lose a lot of road space. You want to be ready to shift to their road, be ready to shift to their road.
Where's Gent?
Pushing the bonfire. They have no
Oh, there's Gent. Gent's on the left. Okay.
I'm helping out.
Disrespect the fuck out of
Our offense
them.
getting fucking good.
30 seconds.
We're good enough.
Good shit.
A cap one might die. No, he's okay.
Take it top right. Bottom
Be
right.
careful top left.
20
I'm gonna play top
seconds.
left,
I
man.
got you beyond. I'm in our road.
Careful top right. Careful top right.
Take it mid left, take it mid left.
Take your top low. I take your top low.
Good shit.
10 seconds.
Don't throw guys. Don't throw.
Continue to play slow, play careful, play slow, play careful. They're going to send left here.
I'm kind of low. Yeah, center flag is sacred.
Respawns now.
Hold on. Tapping about right.
I'm good. I'm good.
Check, okay.
You can come top left to sacred.
Bombs are in
Yeah, I'm just trying to get
Yeah, okay, I'm playing top right.
50 seconds.
You got shield center point.
They're big on right again, they're big on right.
Take about right.
Yep, I'm
We're going to
big
need to send on left.
I'm just lining that fucking. Look at cap.
We're going to send,
40
actually,
Showered in,
mid right
showered in,
three,
showered in.
mid right two. Send mid right now, 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 leave, 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 leave.
30
seconds.
On your relay, I'm gonna
Tapping about right.
Take your top right.
dropping him in
We
left.
have oppo.
Take it mid
We're
left.
going to get ready for another reclapse.
Playing loose top right.
Yeah, I have
Top
it.
left
I'm
is
gonna
three, top left is two, top left now, top left, top left, top left, top left, top left, top left.
Mauling it. You guys can get out for free.
Tapping about right.
Respawns are in 10.
10 seconds.
Take it top
Good
right.
shit. Take your buys, take your buys, take your buys.
47. 47.
Point dies now. Anything on the point dies now.
1.
Hoodie, our backline. Hoodie, our backline. Half HP.
1 MK, bottom right actually.
Daniel dies on point.
They can't. So minute 40. Just push it.
50
Just
seconds.
slow play
Grabbing
again,
your
slow
off.
play again, slow play.
Daniel's one up
Yep.
there.
He's wall.
And I grabbed him back.
Legit.
Kill legit. Kill legit. Kill legit. Don't let him get out.
You got him.
40
Hey,
seconds.
bonfire.
I stole the vines a
Grid,
bit.
grid behind us. Shocking on grid. Careful, they're solo deading.
Yeah, I see that.
Careful, lock
Still
coming
slow
from bottom
playing, we're
bar.
playing
Behind us.
30 seconds.
Talking bottom. Yeah, making a little bit towards point now. They're coming in heavy. One ghost left side.
I'm grabbing mid left right now.
20
Yeah, so mid
seconds.
left.
Pulling back in on Ghost.
Ghost could die here.
Ghost is one. He's still die. He's dead, I think.
They're big pushing into our road. They're big pushing into our road. Main ball.
Think
We're
about
going to
this,
sit
some
down
bonds,
there.
some bonds.
We'll be sitting down there
I'm
when I
shocking
send.
your Vela.
Unless they
Last
posture that
spawn
differently,
in
I'm going to be
5,
looking to send to
4,
left.
Bottom bond is.
3,
They're like that bottom
2,
bond or something.
Talking left
Tapping
side.
about right.
final respawn.
Take your mid left.
All right,
Just
we're going to
chasing
go
Ghost.
bot left in about 5, 4,
Take it
3,
off.
2. Go bot. Left side on bot. Left side on bot. Left side on bot. Go, 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 go,
Vortex in here,
Good,
declump.
good. Now pull that right side, wipe right.
Yeah, I'm going right side.
Raven is second left.
Are they hitting this left?
Coming mid right. I'll go beyond.
We're playing.
I don't know how I lived outside of
Send our light
one
pop
of
left.
this
Send our
big
light pop
thing,
left. Send our light pop left.
Finger bomb it.
Good shit.
Oh, there's like 5 seconds left. Oh,
Way to hold your shit for.
Good job. I don't know my game.
nice.
Appreciate it.
Jeez.
We straight?
Yeah, no.
The area chat was toxic at the end, I ain't
You know,
gonna lie.
when they push all
Yeah.
their main ball into oppo, I just wait till their main ball looks to enter fucking full sim.
Wait, I got
Because they are
kills
ready
that
to get
war?
hit immediately.
Okay.
Bro, I was 11-0 and I just started. I blew up one time because my lag thingy just froze my game.
I had like no kills in the last like 3 minutes.
And then
I
after
got
that, I
five,
just
thank
forgot to
God.
equip armor.
Apple still has a problem with just dying. Good to know.
Yeah.
Bro,
Dude, he stamped so much.
And Bungie were hammering
No.
the fuck out of him. So
Good heals.
That was great.
Yeah, good job, Jesus.
Yeah, good heals as well.
He has like frigid dot on too. He's like so bright. It's so easy to see him. There's like no nameplates. It's like, oh, there's apples.
GG's, Cheezer, and Soraka.
GG's, everybody.
Good work.
GG's, gang.
Have a good night, boys.
Good night, man.
GG's.
from your channel.
Why are you not using serum for stam regen? Because I forgot to put it on, along with like half the other stuff that I forgot that were. Like I should have had barrage. That would have prevented my only death, but I forgot to put on barrage too. I mean, like it's a okay setup, but wait, where was my serums? I just have serums, but they're just not here. Like I'm selling serums on the TP. Okay, yeah. Let's put the serums on the tank gear before I forget. Okay, there we go. So I won't forget that next time. How's it going, Meg? The audio cooldowns make it for a rough listening experience. Oh, with like how many things are happening at the same time and how many things are getting canceled because like no grit. I found your bruiser video because I was doing some research. Yeah, like I'm surprised, but people are starting to try that cook that I put out there. It was like, you know, you could probably go 200 con. Now bruisers are actually like trying 200 con. They're like, you know, it actually feels pretty good. It's kind of silly. Go 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 go. Yep, pretty much. That's Happer. The artifact Happer, or sorry, the artifact Happer, the artifact hammer or Mjolnir, however you spell it. It's a decent hammer for me. It's the best one I have right now. It's not bad. It just doesn't have the shockwave Ren perk, which is the main reason why people don't like to use it a ton, but it's like a really good hammer otherwise, like really good damage. I'm not muted, SLB. My volume's normal. It's going up to the top. I see my audio mixer. Yeah. Man's trolling. Yeah, that was my question. Do I have to use Mighty Gavel since it has the perk? Oh no, you don't. I mean, you could just go standard perks, like Wrecking Ball's a good perk, Armor Breaker's a good perk, Shockwave's a good perk, Path of Destiny is a good perk. All the other ones, like Clear Out and Mighty Gavel, are kind of not as great. What do you think about Opal versus Jasper for Spear in Wars? I'd do Jasper because there tends to be a lot of weaken in Wars, and Spear has a problem with not getting enough Empower passively. But if you're not actively taking damage all the time, then Opal could make sense. Oh, what gem should you put in it? Can you even put a gem in that weapon? Does it let you put a gem in there? GG. GG's hand. I don't even know how to spell Mjolnir, I'm not gonna lie. Let me just go Warhammer and Artifact. There it is. Yeah, could you even put a gem in this? Yeah, you can't add gem setting pin. Yeah, there's no gem. Why diamond for fire staff? Because you should be playing conservative enough to where the diamond would consistently proc. You could also go like onyx, or you can go emerald. Both of those are good as well, but I think diamond's the most consistent. Like fire staff's not designed to be a class that really gets in there. It's like you play from a range. Like if this is the guy I'm trying to hit as a fire staff player, I'm playing like here. Like I'm not playing super close. Like I'm trying to duel this guy, I'm like playing here, or I'm playing like here. Like you're not close to people. So you should just be pretty much consistently full HP. Cousins, there's two reasons why stone form's used. One is the survivability, as you mentioned. Also with vines, you can't even use it anymore, really, because Purifying Heart doesn't cleanse the exhaust on vines, so that would just grief me so hard as a tank. Firestorm isn't terrible, and Vile's not terrible. I've run both of those before. But the main reason why people run Stoneform as a tank is it gives you grit. Like, it gives you... Or not even grit, it's better than grit. It's CC immunity. So if they're going for a crash, I could pop CC immunity, turn my back so I'm not wasting stamina, get shocked or hit by warhammers that would normally stun me, and my shield aura doesn't go down. Like, that's the majority of why you use Stoneform on tank. Like, that's the main point for it. Like, can you be greedier and not run it? Yes, but it's, like, a little bit sketchy. I always use Malachite in Fire Staff. I mean, that kind of makes sense, too, especially if you're using, like, Deep Freeze. Like, that would also make sense. Like, I feel like gems are, like, relatively flexible with that weapon. Hey, do you think Rapier could be played as a main hand DPS in PvP? Outside and very, very small scale, yes. But it's a cheese nuker kind of styled build. Like... This is, like, not a build I really recommend. It's honestly, like, a really difficult build to play well in PvP, but some people go Blood Rapier style builds in PvP. You get enough bleeds on people, you pop Flourish and Finish, you can actually one-shot somebody. It's kind of a cheese build. It's more of a, like, 1v1 centric build, maybe 3v3 it's okay. But the instant there's a healer involved or any form of cleanse, it just doesn't do well. So it's, like, really reliant on the person that you're going against not having cleanse. Hey, in that video, we're basically seeing how bruisers are a hammer main with a secondary. Could you sub out, like, hatchet or greatsword? I don't think it really feels good if you sub one of those out. Some people run, like, Great Axe SNS right now as a disruptor because of Reap and because of the extended duration on some of the Great Axe stuff now, but that's about the weirdest it gets. Some people do like Warhammer with Hatchet or like Warhammer with Blunderbuss, and like that's like a cheese style oriented like nuker DPS build. Great Axe BB is also a decent one, but like there's not too many variations to that. Miicrow Great Axe Sin with the Newt Root passive could be a fun cook. I mean, it would be a little silly. I mean, all that would do is it would make your roots that are like, what, 0.4 of a second as a base, it would make them 20% longer. So, like, almost 0.5 seconds. I've been trying to make the Greatsword good for so long, and it's kind of frustrating. I mean, Greatsword with SNS is really solid. Greatsword with Hatchet's really solid. The main problem with Greatsword is, like, you need to have Serenity for Greatsword to feel, like, scary, and before you have Serenity, Greatsword's not scary. And the only way to get Serenity is from the PvP track, which you need to get to, like, I think level 29 is your first chance at it. Like, I'm not even, like, halfway there yet. Meal's a 1.5 second route? Is it that long? I was just thinking about this passive, like the 0.4. Is Meal actually that long? I mean, it is a pull, but, like, I think it would still be 0.4, no? Grabs a 1 second route. I mean, there are a lot of sources of routes then. So you could just route chain. I think artifacts only drop on 29, 39, 49, etc., right? It's like 29, 39, 59, 69, 89, 99, and then, like, it starts getting in the hundreds where it's a little bit more consistent. It's, like, really weird. Do you think Sin would be good for the Gorgon raid as an offhand, not as a main hand. I mean, the go-to for like any PvP encounter at this point is just use the stupid finisher. In Gorgon, you can be more creative. Like I find Fire Staff tends to do very well in Gorgon. Anything with Hatchet tends to do very, very well in Gorgon. Like Greatsword Hatchet tends to do pretty well. Great Axe Hatchet's okay. Spear Hatchet's really, really good. Like, I don't know, like when in terms of Gorgon, like in your composition, like you have 10 slots, right? You have 1 slot for a tank, you have 2 slots for healers, you have 1 slot for just an enfeebling spear, and you have to run that or else you'll just get one shot by some of the mechanics. And then after that, it's like relatively flexible. You usually want 2 to 3 ranged. Most of the time, those are like Fire Staff IG. They could be bow. They could be hatchet with another weapon. And then the other 3 slots are a little bit more flexible. Usually you want 1 person with like Warhammer, especially for the second boss. When stuff gets like really hectic, it makes it a little easier. Could just stopped at Hatchet tends to do well. Didn't even have to include the raid. Yeah, Hatchet's a little silly. SNS is a better rapier if you want a close quarters fight. Yeah, it basically is. I mean, the main thing with rapier is like it's not forgiving. Like everything has to go your way for rapier to really work super well. Some people used to play it a little bit more. Like Flurry does give you immunity at a certain point, but I don't know. It doesn't feel that great. Thoughts on enfeebling spear and sin and Gorgon? Mandatory, pricey. That's a mandatory build that you need to at least have 1 person. You don't necessarily need the sin. I think rapier is slightly better, and the main reason why I say that is if you're on the spear, your critical hits extend the duration of your spear debuffs by 20%. So like sin doesn't really help you there because you're already going to be extending your duration of your debuffs, assuming you're actually like hitting the right mobs from behind. But you could run sin. Like it's not like harmful by any means. It's just if you go rapier, you just have a little bit of a DPS increase, and you have no upside for going sin in that mode. Most of the time, sin's really good with spear because you can't consistently hit people from behind and can't consistently crit the target that you already landed your debuff on. But in this circumstance, I think it's not as great. I just returned from 2021, and I'm struggling a lot in 1v1 when they block, especially. The only way I find kills is sneaking on range and doing Tondo cancel finish. I mean, that's another problem with Rapier. It's like, I don't know. Rapier has like a few issues going on with it. That's one of them where stam damage, like you do not do any damage. Like if you have to throw in a heavy attack on Rapier, you're basically done. The other problem is like the bleed kind of style build is really inconsistent. The evade style build doesn't really have high DPS. And everything is single target, so it doesn't work outside of like 1v1 to 3v3 environments. Use a hammer with rapier to break their stam. Yeah, that's a cook for sure. I need to find that link to the thing. I sent it to you, Crush. So we need to redo this. And I need to get rid of a few of these perks too. So I don't want to rate void conditioning. I don't want to rate frost conditioning. We need to add in a few other ones as well. So let me reset this, and then I'm going to change how the tier list thing kind of works. Oh wait, oops. Mix it up with the ones that we had lower and some higher ones so that we have some variety here. But we need to add in a few other perks that we're missing. I believe it was Vigor. Invigorated. Did we put Hasted Vigor on here? I don't think we put Hasted Vigor on here either. Hasted Vigor is a perk. Pretty good perk. We need to do Freedom. And then we need refreshing. And there are so many things with the refreshing in the name. Jeez. Okay. Forgot you have to hit apply. Okay. So that's that basically reset. And then I feel like we're going to kind of keep the same theme where S would be BIS everywhere. I'd say A would be BIS 2+ modes within, and then we'll keep this to PvP. B would be BIS in 1+ mode, and then C would be like basically niche, and then F would be not usable. Like I think that would be like a fair thing to do if we just keep this to PvP only, where like the different modes would be, you have your FFA setting, you have your OPR setting, you have your 3v3 setting, you get your war setting, and maybe like influence races or something like that. Am I missing any defensive armor perks is like the other question. Because yesterday we were missing perks, and that was an issue, became an issue. Do you know any big dog mage players that I can watch? Andev is the biggest one I think is good. He's probably the best one, but that's not like IGVG mage, that's like Firestaff mage. Sandworm heavy boots? Yeah, we can't, I mean that's like just an illegal piece, like I can't rate keenly empowered or like keen speed as a defensive perk. Like it's obviously very, very good, but it's like, it's on a different tier. Like you shouldn't be able to get that, and that's why it's so good. And same thing with like refreshing ward, like it's something you shouldn't be able to get, and if you get it, it's like really, really nice to hit. Alright, so does this look good? I think we can get into this then. I just need to get rid of the attack and defense thing. So the way this is gonna work is we're gonna have a separate tier list for chat, a separate tier list for me. This is gonna be PvP oriented. I should probably duplicate another one of these just to have it in case we want to do a PvE oriented one later. So we're gonna be rating perks in terms of their PvP viability. S will be its BIS everywhere, like you could use it every single form of PvP. It's very, very competitive in all those forms. A is really good in at least 2 modes. So like War would be considered a mode, OPR would be considered a mode, 3v3 be a mode, FFA Island would be a mode. Duels is like kind of like half a mode. Like I don't think it's like really much of a thing, to be honest. Influence races would be a mode, but it's like pretty similar to War or OPR. Like that would be the idea of a mode, basically. Miicrow pulls from top to bottom, yeah. So we're starting with Grit Ward. Yeah, let's do top to bottom. I mixed some of these up. We have some other interesting perks at the bottom. The only other thing I need to change here is this fire harnessing is just normal harnessing. But we didn't want to rate all of them because they're all relatively similar. And I think that's it for the most part here. So starting off here, we'll look at Grit Ward. Grit Ward used to be a kind of more sought after perk than it is nowadays. It gives you base damage reduction while you're under the effect of Grit. It used to be more common to have the effect of Grit because of 300 con giving you Grit to light and heavy attacks. Now 300 con just gives you to heavy attacks and when you're charging your heavy attacks as well. So it's a little bit harder to consistently have Grit. If you find a way to consistently have Grit, it's not a bad option. Because this is base damage reduction, this is mostly effective in PvE. In PvP, base damage perks tend to have roughly half the value because a lot of PvP players tend to have a high amount of base damage built into their build passively. Yeah, Crush, start the poll. I'm just giving like background for it, but that's kind of where Grit Ward sits right now. I think this is like Bruiser considers running this perk. Also, let me hide the. I already did hide the chat. Okay, cool. And then I can move this over here. Bruiser considers running this perk pretty often. Can I do this right? Yeah, I can do this. That works. And then something like that. And I have my OBS down here, which isn't great. I'm gonna move my OBS to the right. Okay, that works. So now we have something that looks somewhat professional. Not really, but kind of. Okay, there. Chat, wake up, your expertise is needed. True. We only got like one. Crush is the only person voting right now. Gotta have people participate or it's just gonna be a miicrow tier list. Alright. I'm gonna put Grit Ward in the not usable tier at this point. I think it's completely outclassed by every other form of perk. There are like a few spots where like you can maybe make it work, like if you have Hatchet and you have Grit from Berserk, but like I feel like you shouldn't be making a build around that kind of thing. Like it's just kind of weird. We might want to let chat get a bit more active before we do it. Maybe. You think we should do an OPR, wait a little bit, and come back to it? We have like 40 people in here, but okay. Yeah. I mean, we can wait if people aren't in here yet. Because if I'm the only one that's voting for it, it doesn't work out as well, usually. Turnout was really good yesterday, unironically. Sorry, I'm farming in the background. My bad. That's funny. Okay. We'll do an OPR, and then hopefully after that we'll have a bit more people in here, and then we can kind of take it from there. Also, my opinion's not valid. I'm not very good at this. Lurking's okay. Do I want to try to make the SNS or make the flail thing work again? I kind of want to try to make this work again. I have like 2 more cooks to try with this. One of them is I go 200 focus and then dump the rest into con, so I'm gonna have like relatively high constitution. And then the other one is basically just go void dark plate. Not expeditions. We're doing OPR. So this is kind of a fun build that I cooked up. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the base idea is that it has a lot of debuff stripping effects. So it's like a decent counter to Hatchet. But it also has some other properties that make it a little bit more interesting, because Flail helps you engage a little bit better. We also have the Artifact Flail, so we're passively applying Weaken. In theory, it should be a relatively tanky build when like completely put together, but we're not quite there yet. Like we're missing a slash shield ward on here, we're missing another ward on here. Our gem split is like relatively poor. I probably should just put in 2 physical gems so it at least feels somewhat playable. YouTube poll or just Twitch? The problem is there's no way to do a YouTube poll right now that I'm aware of. Why are all my storages empty? What bug is this? There's no way to do a poll on YouTube directly right now, unfortunately. Or wait, no, there is a way to do a poll on YouTube, but the problem with the polls on YouTube is it only gives you 4 choices, and I typically have 5 choices when I do polls. I think I found it once. Oh wait, I needed onyxes. Shoot. Where's my onyx? There we go. I am a onyx maker, so I don't care about losing like the gold here. Make plenty of them. But if you linked the poll and Twitch and YouTube could add to it. I mean, I thought about doing that, but then I would have to make a new poll every time for a site, right? Like, that would be a good way to do it. But it's like, would I just do a Google forum then? Like, would that be it? And I would just go through, rate my perks. I'd have people fill out a Google forum and then rate their perks, and then we'd come together at the end. Click tab real quick. Why do I need to click tab? Checking my build or checking my stats? I am just going full focus, basically. Actually, no, I'm going full con 200 focus. I don't know, if people know how to do a poll where I can have it kind of combined, let me know, but I don't know the way to do it besides like a Google forum, and that doesn't sound perfect. We're not gonna be able to get in there. So I invested 80k into armoring gear and trophies. I bought everything except for one armoring case journal. There are none on TP. I bought them for 5k, and now people are put out them out for 15k since there's none on TP. Nice. That sounds about right. This is definitely tankier. Trying to go for heavies because they penetrate and they go through people. That just did not go the right direction at all. I feel like this is probably a safer direction than what we had going yesterday. I'm still like kind of playing skittish though. I'm like kind of afraid to get too active. Really looking for a frontliner to play off of if I'm not designed to be a pure frontliner with this build. We have an Abyss fire staff. Might have to use it as my frontliner. I really want more than that though. I mean, I'm just dead here. And we got the bug, so I have to go to menu. Ugh. I know some people say IGVG carries an OPR. I feel like it does not carry without a front line. I mean, at least there's healing now, so like that conditional is fixed for the class. But it feels like a lot of the builds I play, they're like conditional on certain things for them to be like able to carry. Like tank, you need to have at least 1 to 2 players that can do consistent damage. You need a healer, and that's about it. This needs bruisers, a healer, not 20 bows, which basically every OPR is 20 bows that just spam poison shot down a doorway, and they override each other and don't do damage, but that's how it be. Hey, miicrow, for a BB build, is it better to have keen awareness or thrust damage on ring? Critting doesn't really matter on BBs, so I just put thrust damage. Straw poll, I can make a poll and then paste in each chat. That might actually work, Division. That might work. I forgot about straw polls. Oh, you got dodge roll from that? I feel like I'm gonna have to frontline, and I really don't want to have to frontline. But like, we actually don't have any melee besides me. Okay, we got one melee. Oh, we missed that by a little bit. He's slowed though, he should be dead. Alright. Feeling a little better about it. Trip is such a nice ability now with the grit change. It's actually just so good. Like, I don't know why it feels as good as it does. Like, it's probably just the grit change. But, like, that hits there and it's just like, he takes so much damage from it too. Did that hit? I don't know if it did. What is my hatchet player doing over here? Or their hatchet player. Gotta cast a single target on the other player, not me. And put the sacred not on me, even put it on the other player. I really want that weaponsmithing up though, because that will make the build feel really different when they get the refreshing ward shield, because it's a refreshing ward and it has slash shield ward, which both those are just like so impactful. And then they become like tankier when you get conditioning. Like it feels like it just might be build like you need to hit like certain thresholds and then this build starts taking off. Tricking Fort still bad? I don't think it's something that some people like to take. I wouldn't say it's like super meta, but it's not terrible. If I'm not being healed, I don't apply the weaken. What is going on? Why am I getting lit up for so much? Like, there's no way I can go into that and live with my current team comp. Just have to back here. Now I can. Now they're split up enough to where I can frontline. Yep, okay. Apparently not. I have all the haste in the world, but don't have heal. Elemental Ward would just be the better choice, right? I mean, usually, but it depends on a few conditions. I really want this build to work. It just feels like it's not gonna work until I get like 2 more items. And it's felt like that for a while, but like it's not quite tanky enough. Like that's probably the thing I should try next is like cutting Mad Gauntlets, because the extra health is nice, but the extra health doesn't really matter if I'm just taking so much burst too. Like I need more resistance. I'm also like putting myself in a really bad situation. Like normally you don't want to play this as like a frontline like tank oriented thing. Like it's meant to be like a midline support. I'm just taking so much damage there, and I feel like if I had Void Darkblade, I'd be taking like half the damage. But like half my bar is gone, it's not even ticking up. That didn't hit. Swear that looked like it should hit. Okay, that should be a root though. And then if we're not full HP, we have an issue with proccing Blood Drinker. So I feel like higher focus, lower con, and then go Void Darkplate might be the play. I might try that real quick. Where do I have to die? I might have to die to do this. Sit in the corner. Okay, I want to try this and then go up to 350 focus again. Just go 200 con. Like this should feel more tanky. Even with less con. I don't have like the when you dodge with a VG you heal yourself perk. That would also help as well. Power Stone perk only works on Power Stone, right? Not on another weapon? No, it also works on the other weapon. So it's working on my VG when I'm above 90% HP. So like that right there should apply a weaken to a target. If I throw an auto out, that target should have weaken too. Let me hit someone just to make sure. Wait. Does it only work on the Power Stone? I thought it worked on the other target. I'm gonna... That would change the entire build and make this build like a lot worse if that was true. Uh-oh. If it doesn't work on the other target, then we just go flow IG. There's no point of even trying this build. I thought it worked on both targets. Yeah, it doesn't say on stone. It says on equip. Like it should work on both weapons. So if I apply it to you, do you get hit with it? Yeah, you got hit with the weaken. Yeah, it does work. Okay, cool. I just can't see debuffs like consistently in OPR, unfortunately. Healer. Oh, he just got destroyed. Poor guy. Tried to scorpion us. I should be dead there, but I bought a lot of time and I just respawn here. With IGVG, you can actually live that infinitely, so that's like a big difference between Flail and IGVG. Like, Flail is like you have to kind of go in and out of the two styles. IGVG is you can just sit forever and not really get punished. Like right now I want to be flailing, but in a second I'm going to be back to other class. And we go back to flailing. Don't really have any allies left. We strip the hatchet real quick. Do you still have your thing up? Okay. It's like that guy is living way too long. Oh, let's dive back line here. Bail me out, healer, please. Nope. I hate it when you go to peels for someone and then they just run away. Like, if he stays there, I think we actually win that. Or if we have, like, one other person that's looking that direction, we probably win that. But instead, everyone's just playing for themselves. It's like there's... People are so passive in OPR. Why did that guy go in with bow rapier? It doesn't even make sense. We have stone here. A little bit. Well, I could at least buy some kegs. Get a few clips, maybe. No scorpion, though. The enemy shield casually standing on the point. True, but nice. I don't blame him for doing that. That play kind of makes sense. They have a brute here. What is this guy doing? You're so out of position, buddy. Like beyond dead. It's like 6 feet under. And then some. If we don't have a sacred, I can't stand there. I would like to, but I cannot stand there unless there's a sacred on the gate. And this is the kind of healer that I think would put sacred on the back line, not the front line. Okay, now we have a sacred. Not really on the gate, but close enough, I guess. Now we don't. Put a brute in our back. Do I not have Purifying Heart? I don't have Purifying Heart. I missed my Purifying Heart. It's so good. Are they repairing too? Oh my god. Why is the fire staff burn ticking for like 1,000 per tick? You just chill for a second. Before I randomly get deleted here. That's a nice trip. You already cover how this build feels now with magnetic gauntlets, or changed the build? So we just tried it with magnetic gauntlets. I just changed the build. So now I'm on Void Darkplate. If I had magnetic gauntlets with full gear, it would probably feel about as tanky as just running Void Darkplate right now. Fortunately, I just kind of have to chill for a second. I would like to go in more, but then I would just feed. I don't know how that guy dies there. That's crazy. Stripped your berserk. Why is it so active? You got diminishing orbed. You guys should just be dead immediately. We could still win this OPR technically if we had Baron, like if we got Baron like right now, but we have like 0 people going to Baron, so I don't think we're winning this one. Anywhere I could find the builds and gear, I can find PvP stuff, but not much for the PvE for the raid. Okay, yeah, this OPR's over. The raid stuff's like a little bit harder to find, to be honest. Like there's general guidelines, like I have like a raid resource posted in a video, like, or posted in the Discord, but it's not everything everyone would want for it. It's like just like a high level guide of what you do in the raid and like what builds people run. Some people have like written up exactly what all the boss mechanics do and whatnot, but it's kind of a lot. That's the spot where magnetic gauntlets would just start going infinite, versus with VG flail you have to switch back and forth. But I think this just plays more naturally to like what it does. Like it is a class that switches back and forth. I do need to use my ult a little bit more offensively though. Like ult for CDR, I'm not really doing that much right now. God, I hate that OPR. It's just so much passive damage everywhere. Wait, what? It's an enemy? What is going on? Man just ran in, detonated, killed my healer, and left. He's committed a war crime. Well, we got top assist, I know that much, but I don't know, it feels okay. Yeah, the Discord's, like, I've heard a couple people say the link expired, but it still works, so I checked that. How does straw pools work? So you would just be like, so if I were to type out Grit Ward, and then we just do S. Wait, paste answers. So if I cancel that, I did paste, did that, hit preview. Oh, that's this. That's actually way better. And then I do create poll. And then I hit share, and then you have to do this every single time. You know, you could definitely do it that way. And vote analytics, does that show you what thing or who votes for what? No. Show results. Okay. I mean, we can try this. So like, say I just did like a test poll. And just paste it into both chats. But you could have them pre-populated? Can you do multiple? Like, or is it just like one question kind of thing? And could I reset the poll, or do I have to do a new one every single time? I'm sure if you paid, it would have the option, probably a new one in the free version. Yeah. I mean, that is a way to do it so that everyone gets to vote for it. See, how many people do we have in here right now? I mean, we got a good amount of people in here. We probably could do it. I think we give it a go. It's the S. Is this the S tier on handsome players in New World? Nah, we're trying to figure out a way to do a poll system where people on the YouTube side and on the Twitch side could actually both vote. I don't know, Crush, what do you think about that? I mean, I think I do one more OPR just to see if any last second stragglers come in, because I feel like people tend to come in later. And I could at least get the PvP one done. This is us, right? Yeah, this is us. Take Eden Grove back. We want our Eden Grove back. We either do straw poll or we do it through Twitch, I think. I don't... Or I can do like an entire preloaded one, make a Google forum, and then just share the Google forum. And then I can do my rating, and then at the end of going through my rating, see who filled out the Google forum. And then we can look at the comparison then. But then that would be a little bit different of a workflow. Like, I think both of those would work. Alright, I did not take my gear off and put it back on, but I don't think I'm going to have an opportunity to do that. So the thing that we changed in this build is we dropped Mad Gauntlets, we went for Void Darkplate, and now we have like less CDR, but we have a little bit more sustain, and we went higher focus with it too. Dude. the hell just happened? I feel like we're too low consistently for the flail to do the things I want it to do. Like, I'm sitting here at like 2k HP, bleeding out, not getting healed. And if I'm like below 90% HP, my flail is like kind of useless. Like, I almost feel like flail IG is just better than this right now, or IGVG is better than this. Which I could just go IGVG and then we could try it too, but wanted to make the flail VG work. I love healers who put the sacred on themselves and not on the team. Like, yeah, this is basically playing without a healer, even though we have 4 healers, so we should have 4 healers. Would work better if you queued it with the healer, I guess. That goes from any melee class. It does. Unfortunately, like, we have to keep our health above 90% or this doesn't work. Like, or we don't apply the mass weaken. Like, I apply a weaken there, but it's like it's not impactful then. So it's like I need to like be really passive and then wait for a mid fight, but then like that's such a boring playstyle. I also feel like I probably could just go like IGVG, or no, I can go flail IG, and then I can put a pylon down, right? And if I put a pylon down, if I hit someone, it will apply the weaken. Like, that sounds like a decent recipe. Or I can just play like somewhat conservative like I am like right here, where I'm taking like off angles with the class. I'm not really losing any HP here. I guess this is a lot more conservative though, the play style. Tried to body block his escape. I feel like it didn't really work though. I had the wrong weapon out. I was trying to use orbs. Like, why is it not working? No. Did I miss the tier list? No, we've been procrastinating. We're like trying to make it, but we're trying to figure out if there's a better way to do a poll that can get the YouTube people to vote too and not just the Twitch. I think we ended up with like probably going to make a straw poll or something like that. And then throw out a link and then people can vote on the link, which isn't like perfect, but at least seems a little bit better. Wait, why'd you do that? Why would you ever put up a barrier in mid? It just griefs your own team. You detonated early. It's kind of funny. There's so much passive damage from like fire snap to OPR. So silly. I can't jump because I'm stammed. I think I just died a hatchet, I'm not gonna lie. Unless I have a live. Oh, the play's so passive still. No healer moment. Good morning from the UK. Good morning, Alter. Moonstones? What about them? You need thrust though. I need the thrust protection right now. And I need the protection from Moonstone. That guy has Thorny Reflection. I got the crit reduction effect. He's getting single targeted. I'm not getting single targeted. That's not fair. I'm sitting at half HP. No heal. Tired of playing passive. It does do a good job of countering hatch if I play it right, though. That is a plus. Kill the tank. I almost want to, like, on this patch, I almost think that cutting Vortex for Barrage isn't that troll for IGVG. or like, or not for IGVG, but for flail. Like, I feel like that's so weird though, but like staggers are so good right now that running triple stagger actually might be kind of good. Might be dead. Kind of greeted that. Don't have barrage. Yeah, I want to try that this life too. Let's try triple stagger. No vortex. Surely that's troll, right? Like that sounds so troll, but. Now, for some reason, I feel like this is gonna feel good. How's it going, Christina? Are you still broken or have you recovered? No more Humpty Dumpty? I recovered from surgery well? Nice. That's really good. So you had to get surgery then. It's a little scary. I think I could scream that. Nice. Stagger. Stagger. Yeah, triple stagger's kind of silly. Did I just give him dodge roll with that trip? That's so annoying. I did not mean to hit that. I might die for that. Nope, we're good. Body block him, trip him from behind. Classic anti-tank maneuver. Thank you, you saved me, no problem. Just tethered to me? What? Hey, this guy's being weird with it. Wait, I just have 4 staggers now, I just realized. And if I ran vines, I'd have 5. Dang, got healed to full. He played that well. It's also so awkward with the new, like, whenever you take damage or block an attack, you gain increased duration perk now. Like, I feel like you like don't want to hit tanks too much. Which you already didn't, but like now it's even like more punishing. Use stone forming back up there. I feel a little squishy. But I'm low. Like really low. Okay, we're good. Do you like PvP better since the new release? I mean, I think it's at least refreshing, so I'd say it's an improvement, but I don't know if the meta is necessarily healthier. We shouldn't go in there yet. We have to play out here until they break it, and then come back in. And we just upgraded. Oh, I think I can sneak in there. Yep. I hate having barrage on Q. It doesn't feel good. My guy losing to the ghost. Give these guys an empower. You're dead. Honestly, this feels pretty solid with triple stagger, like on the flail versus in cutting vortex. Like I feel like vortex, it's really good in war, but like outside of war, I don't know. Like I can go through here now. Like I would die there otherwise. Well, I still might die, but you know. Die slightly less fast. My healer is very low. They got out though. I think we ended up on a variant that feels pretty good so far. Okay, he just stripped his own buff. Guy kind of trolled there. He went to the Warhammer when he needed to stay on Sword and Shield or he died. We got a shotgunner. Shotgun musket player. We got a light attack bow. I'm the Great Axe Fire Staff trying to make a bruiser setup, but squishy. Yeah, I mean, it's squishy when you go that build, but you can still dive bomb in there for a second if you need to. I forgot about blocking with the flail and how good it feels, because you can like kind of keep the pressure there without necessarily having to dodge. You can hold space really well by just blocking. What did I just watch? I don't think anyone like wants to walk forward here. This is such an awkward spot. That Sacred just ticked for 275. He just grabbed his bag. Feel bad for that guy, but I can't really help him. Get him. Void Blade. Void Blade went off. Who is bake a cake and why are they going in so hard? Chill again. We're low. I like fighting here, like in this spot where we have the sides to exit from. Like you can just chill on the side here, but still take a fight in mid. It's really, really nice. But a little bit too much pressure though. I need to back up to the next corner. Oh, you had grit. Stripped his buff, I think. Oh, we didn't get the kill on her? That's a little crazy. Got blown up that time. I thought we can get the kill on her. It was stagger locking. What's the max territory standing in the game? I think it's 300. It's either 200 or 300. I think it's 300. I'm almost at 100 on one of my territories now. In theory, the counter to that build would be Void Amulet, Ruby / Conditioning Armor, correct? I mean, Void Amulet's like almost never correct because there's just so many different elemental types, and you can effectively ward better to Void by just going like a general elemental resist and then doing your ward to slash and then dropping your slash general resist, if that makes sense, or like your general physical resist. I'm gonna play this as a disruptor, so I'm just gonna play to deny heals. Doesn't seem like it's working perfectly well, but it's like kind of working. We have like 2 seconds. I'm going in. Alright. Great, but I'm talking about the Great X Fire Staff build. Oh, gotcha. You mean like Void Damage Ring? I still don't think Void Amulet really works. miicrow just out here trying to make a difference. Oh, in the OPR? I'm definitely role-playing. I don't know if I'm like actually making a difference, but I'm existing. Doing a little bit more than that build should do. Not much more, but a little bit. For the new players, it's hard to form the shield, Michael. Or farm the shield, Michael. See, I've got the transmog for Michael, but you never actually use Michael. Because Michael's not that good of a shield, but it has a great transmog. It looks cool. miicrow, what's the fastest killing build for a single target on light build PvP? The fastest killing? Probably Hatchet. Like, if you're a light Hatchet, you sneak up behind someone, then you press Raging Torrent, or if you can go heavy attack, which gives you a bunch of empower, into Raging Torrent, like, it's just good night. You cannot live that. Michael shield is my transmog shield too. Nice. Okay. Crush, I think we send it now. I think we send a tier list. The question is, do we use straw polls or do we just do Twitch chat stuff? I feel like we could try straw polls. Let me close New World because it's gonna get in the way here. Wait, why did it not? It should auto go to the second half of the screen. It shouldn't have to resize this like this. Hatchet and what? Probably sword and shield. Great sword also works. Okay, let's see if my copy paste is still correct. No. Okay. So I need not to edit my user settings file, which we did yesterday, to mess around with some stuff. Oh no, I closed the file and it crashed Notepad again. My Notepad is like been acting really weird lately. I'm just trying to have this thing on a window where I can copy paste it. What are your thoughts on BB Hatchet? It used to be more of a thing than it is now, but still decent. Okay, do I just need to wait for this to buffer? I just can't close this window at all? Is that how Notepad works now? I just have a window that I'm gonna have up forever? What the hell? What is wrong with my Notepad? Okay, I guess I'm just not gonna try to close that window anymore. It's literally just that one window. Everything else is perfectly fine. It's just if I close this, it will crash. Okay. So let's try the straw poll out. So what I'm gonna try to do is basically we're gonna rate all the armor perks. I'm gonna try to have the polls in the YouTube and in the Twitch chat at the same time, and basically just paste a link for each time that we start talking about an item and make a straw poll for it. To see how that goes and run with it. So by the end of this, there should be a little bit more participation than if we just did the poll on Twitch or just the poll on YouTube. And hopefully that will kind of help out a bit. Okay, I have a feeling you underestimate the Michael shield. I hope I'm underestimating Michael. If Michael is good, I'd be very happy again. So first perk I want to look at here is Grit Ward. And so I would need to type in Grit Ward. I have my thing set up. I set up multiple choice. I hit create poll. Okay. And then I copy this and I paste in both chats. Okay, cool. So that works. So we're gonna look at Grit Ward now. So Grit Ward is a perk that gives you 3% damage reduction while under the effect of grit. This used to be a really, really popular perk. I think it's grown a little bit less popular with time, but it's still an effective armor perk to go for certain builds. Basically, if you have access to grit, you can consistently avoid stagger effects, and there's a good amount of stagger effects in the current game. You guys gotta vote on the straw poll, though, or I'm not gonna use the straw poll. Do people want to use the straw poll, or are we just gonna do the votes in Twitch chat? Because now no one's voting. Okay, we got one vote. There we go. Now it's starting to come through. So, in the tiers, to make it clear, C is niche, F is not usable, B is BIS in one mode or above. Honestly, I should probably just copy this and just have this as my copy paste and avoid the letters. That will probably make it easier. So, if, like, the F vote would be it's not a usable perk, C would be it's a niche perk, B would be it's a really good perk in at least one mode, and this is pertaining to PvP for now with the tier list. Use Twitch, it's easier. I could do that, but then I can't get the YouTube people to participate. That's the issue. So it's like, I feel like it's still better to try the straw poll. We could try it for one. If it doesn't work, then we can go back to doing everything on Twitch or something like that. Alright. I think that's just confirmed to put it in C at this point, so you guys think it's niche. I'd probably say it's not really usable at this point. I think basically every other perk outclasses this one. We're getting good participation, so yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. So do I have to back out and create a new poll every single time? Is that how I need to do this? So create poll, and then this would be create retribution, and then I would copy this, paste it in here, hit preview, hit create poll, cancel that, and then paste this link in the chat for the next one. Okay, I think I got a system going now. So this next one is for crit retribution. This is some people might not be aware of what this perk is or what it even does. This is a perk where it's like if you get hit with a crit, then you have a higher crit chance for a certain period of time. I think the main benefit with this is it's like one of the first and one of the only current perks now that you can put on armor that boosts the damage of your weapons. So it's like if you kind of have a glass cannon style build or build that's like really based off of like critting, then this could be useful for you. But for most people, I think it's not as common to see this. Like it's not a common thing to see, but you can use it. This good for Bruiser? It's not something that's like really run typically for Bruiser, but I feel like it's a perk where it's like if you have two perks on the thing that are good and you get critical retribution, you're like, sure, I'll rock critical retribution. It's like it's not terrible. I think you can only get it on on chest piece or something like that. Or no, it's only on headpiece is what you can get it. So it's like not a super common perk to get. I think you guys got niche locked in there at this point. I tend to... Would I want to put it in niche? I mean, I put it like in a very, very low niche. Like, I think it's like something that you can get, and if you can get it, you're okay with it. The reason why I put Grit Ward and not usable mostly is because the other perks in that same perk bucket are just so much better than Grit Ward, to the point where I think Grit Ward's outclassed. But this one, like, you can definitely argue that it's a kind of a niche option. Next one is Empowering Breaker. Empowering Breaker is a perk that you basically, if you hit someone that has a shield that's blocking or any other thing that can block, then you get passive empower. Is this going to lock me out at some point because I'm creating too many pools too quickly? Please do this for OPR, not war. This is considering all modes, so like the thing that it's like for this is like war counts as one mode, right? So something's only useful in war, I'd say I'd put it in B tier. Like it's BIS for one mode. If it's good in war and OPR, it could be A tier. If it's good in 3v3 OPR, FFA Island, and in war, then it'd be S tier. So it's like that's how I have it kind of set up right now. So Empowering Breaker, to get back to this perk. Basically, if your attacks are blocked, you gain a stack of Empower, which increases the damage by 4.18% for 5 seconds, and the maximum 5 stacks. So it's 20% Empower, which is a lot, but you need to be pretty consistently hitting someone with a shield. The spot where this gets techie is if you're running Blunderbuss and you see someone blocking, and you have this perk, you can just shoot the shield once, because each pellet counts as an individual attack. You just get to the maximum power from this, and it can solve your Empower problems. It doesn't feel as good in PvP as it does in PvE, though. Like in PvE for the Sandworm boss, it's consistently blocking damage, basically. So it's like I consistently get this perk to proc. But for the most part in PvP, I think it's a little bit limited. So this is PvP perks then? Yeah, we're breaking it up to PvP and PvE. We tried to do PvE and PvP in one tier list yesterday, and it kind of worked, but it got really confusing, and it felt like really awkward to do ratings. So Empowered Breaker is God with Hatchet. Yeah, it sounds pretty good with Hatchet, I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of people just tend to block Hatchet attacks, so it doesn't seem like a bad option. Alright, so you guys put this in niche. I'm also gonna agree and put it into niche. Okay. Next we have Slash Conditioning. I think most people are aware of how this perk works, but Slash Conditioning is just basically every time that you get hit by a slash damage effect, it procs this for 5 seconds. While this is procced, you have 5% more slash damage. Or slash damage reduction. And that's in the form of like gem slots. So it's basically like you get a moonstone if this procs. I think from a PvP perspective, you pretty much can run this anywhere without much of a benefit of the doubt. The main part where this can struggle is if you're getting hit by an attack that's super, super hard and it's not super common. Sometimes these conditioning perks don't actually get value. So like for thrust conditioning, for example, if I got hit by one attack every 10 seconds that did 10,000 damage, thrust conditioning does nothing in that circumstance. But if you're getting hit by a lot of like smaller attacks or getting hit by more frequent attacks, which slash conditioning tends to do, then it can be pretty effective. Slash conditioning reduces the bleed effect too. Yeah, it also reduces bleed effects because slash damage is also tied to standard damage. Standard damage is what the damage type for bleed effects. It also, yes, it does affect bleed. Now, bleed will not proc slash conditioning, but if you have slash conditioning procced, it will reduce the effectiveness of bleed damage that is procced on you. And I think bleed damage is snapshotted. I don't think it depends on your active resistances. Alright, so we got 4 votes for BIS everywhere, 2 for BIS 2+ modes, 1 for BIS and 1+ mode. So that one's probably going to fall into BIS for 2+ modes because these 2 votes offset. I mean, I could put that in A for you guys, or I could put it in S. It'd be a little easier if we get one more vote. For me, I think I'm gonna put this one in S. I just can't think of a mode where you're not happy with having slash conditioning in PvP. Like on the FFA Island, you're pretty happy with it because if you run this, then you can lower your physical resistance. Just run a thrust protection amulet, run 3 slash conditioning, so you have 15 physical, go 15 elemental, and then you have ward to basically everything. I think you guys, I'm gonna put you in A just off of that, but it's pretty close. Next up we have Enchanted Ward. Enchanted Ward is, I'd say, one of the most effective PvE perks, but in PvP it's not quite as good. That being said, it's still very, very strong for a lot of builds. So like healer, for example, or any kind of build that doesn't want melee players on top of them, this perk can do relatively well in. So if you're like, say you're a healer and then you have a hatchet player on top of you, this will ward relatively effectively against that hatchet player's attacks, which is why a lot of people value Enchanted Ward. There is some discussion of like, should you go for Jadon? Should you not go for Jadon? And I think it just depends on the constitution that you're able to get from the extra attributes. I was talking to Tranquility about this today, and it kind of made sense. So it's like, for perks that like you get Enchanted Ward and get Elemental Version on for Jadon, for example. So that's like 4% flat base damage reduction, probably closer to 2% in PvP. If you gain like 200 health, you have to compare the value of 200 health versus the 2% damage reduction and how much healing you would take you to have to actually gain that effective same amount of health. So there's some like kind of math involved, but usually this perk turns out to be pretty good for like healers, turns out to be pretty good for fire staffs. It is like relatively close though. All right, so we're going Abyss Everywhere for Enchanted Ward. So this might be Abyss Everywhere for PvE and for PvP for you guys then. I think it is a really, really good perk in small scale. I think it's a really good perk in large scale. I think it's a really good perk in FFA, so I would tend to agree and just put that as Abyss Everywhere, where it's like you could run this in a good amount of modes. Like I think in small scale particularly, Enchanted Ward tends to do a lot better. Larger scale, it's still very viable though. All right. Did I put my Enchanted Ward in? I did. Cool. So now we have Strike Conditioning. Strike Conditioning is pretty similar to Slash Conditioning, but I'd say it's a little bit less common to have strike effects that are hitting you. That being said, it is something that can get a good amount of value in certain modes. So like in War, for example, I think Strike Conditioning is like very, very solid. In very small scale though, I think it's a little bit less good. I don't think you're ever upset about getting strike conditioning on a perk though, like on a piece. Like if you have two pieces, or if you have like, say, Health Enchanted Ward, and then you got strike conditioning on that piece, you're like, yeah, sure, I'm very happy with that piece. But I do think this perk tends to do best in War because Warhammer is such a popular class there, and Warhammer is the main form of strike damage. There's also strike damage from Spear, technically from Cyclone. That's like relatively popular, but you don't get hit by strike damage before, so the perk won't be active when you actually get hit by a Spear, so it's like a little bit less good in that circumstance. So I'm gonna put that in Abyss for one mode. Looks like you guys are also Abyss for one mode. See if there's any more votes that come through, but I think we're about done there. Now we have Shirking Energy. Shirking Energy is a perk that benefits light players pretty much exclusively. What this perk allows you to do is it just gives you a little bit of extra stamina. You usually don't cut like hardy for trying to run this perk or do anything super creative. It's just like, it's a little bit of extra stamina, and stamina just is very, very nice. I tend to agree. I think this is like kind of half a perk. Like if you, it's like another one of those perks where it's like if you have two other good perks and you get this on there, you're not upset if you're in light. But for most people, it's like not something I think you really go out of your way to get anymore. Healers used to really like this perk because this allows you to spam basically 3 dodges back to back to back. Because if you miss, if one person uses an attack, you dodge it, then you gain stamina. You could also just use Rapier Evade, though, and then you end up in, like, a pretty similar situation. So I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to see if there's another vote that comes in to break the tie here. Alright, you got Biss in 2 modes. So, what modes would this be really good in? I think this is really good in 1v1 island kind of mode, like FFA. Like, this is fantastic, because a dodge prevents damage, and preventing damage is the key to staying alive. OPR, it's relatively good if you're trying to escape people. 3v3, I think it's okay, and War, I think it's okay, but I think it's better in, like, larger open world style modes. Yippee, yeah, I can vote. Yep. We figured out a way to get people the ability to vote. We don't hand out stickers, though. No voting stickers. So, you guys got this in Biss in 2+ modes. I think this is a really good perk in FFA Island, so I'm probably going to put it for Biss in 1 mode. I don't think outside of that, I wouldn't say it's like Biss, but it's like something that you can run in other modes. Alright, now we have Flame Conditioning. Flame Conditioning is a really interesting perk because you can't normally get this perk on a piece of gear. You actually have to roll the piece in order to get Flame Conditioning. So it's like a little bit less common to find gear with Flame Conditioning. But if you, the benefit of that is it's in its own perk bucket basically. So what this allows you to do is you could run a piece with like, say, Enchanted Ward, slash conditioning, flame conditioning, and flame damage is like relatively common, and having flame conditioning up will prevent dot damage from ticking as hard as well. So this is like a relatively good perk versus Blunderbuss, a relatively good perk versus Fire Staff. And that's about it, but Fire Staff and Blunderbuss are so popular that I think in general it's a pretty good perk to end up with. It's not something that like I feel like you don't go out of your way typically to get this perk, but if you have an option to pick up it, like you're pretty happy. I think some people are really in love with flame conditioning to the point where they'll use it on other things. Like there is a tech with the flame conditioning too, where you can put it on a shield, and even if your offhand doesn't have a shield, the flame conditioning will still work. So like if you have, say, running SNS Ice Gauntlet or Flail Ice Gauntlet, and you have flame conditioning on your shield, then while you have your Ice Gauntlet out, the flame conditioning will still apply and can still trigger, which is kind of weird. Weird tech there, but overall pretty nice perk to have. So you guys got this in S tier. I think it's a really good perk in OPR. I think it's a really good perk in War. I think it's a pretty good perk in 3v3. 1v1s it's really niche, so I wouldn't say it's necessarily good. I think for OPR and War I'd end up putting it in A. I think the other modes it's like a little bit less conditioned or less consistent, but there's enough Fire Staffs to like really warrant putting that in the A for those modes. You guys are 2 and 2. I'm gonna put it in A. I'm gonna for you guys. I'm gonna keep A or S a little bit more exclusive. Okay, now we have Sturdy Energy. I wonder if Twitch voting got more participants as straw poll on mobile requires you to open another tab and swap back and forth. I mean, I could try the Twitch one and we could see how that does for one of them. But let's see which one has more participation. So let's do the Twitch poll for this one and see how this works out. Nah, you can't blame the YouTube people too much. I'll try it for one, but we'll see if we have to go back. Sturdy Energy is something that you could use on tanks in particular. I think the biggest tech with this perk option is if you have a flail and you use barrage, sturdy energy is like a guaranteed proc, and it can like allow you to do a little bit more in terms of getting your stamina back up a little bit faster. I find this to be a little bit more techy though. And even then for tank, like I feel like it's a kind of a thing where it's like if you have 2 perks and you get this, you're not upset, but you're never really looking for this perk. It's literally the same participation. Okay, now it's slightly more for the Twitch poll than it was for the straw poll. So that would be B. I'm gonna put this in niche. I find it to not be as useful as I think you guys are making it out to be. I'm gonna do the straw poll again and see how they compare in terms of participation. If one is more than the other, then we'll just kind of commit to it. But so next up we got physical aversion. Physical aversion is not super used nowadays, but it's not a bad counter to like bow. If bow players aren't going the elemental bow, so like OPR in particular, I could see this being good. Is physical PvE mob damage? It is pretty often. Like if you're worried about like getting one shot in PvE, then this can help. I think we're going to Twitch polls for all the polls now. Straw poll's a little bit slower. I think the problem is it's a link. I can do a poll for YouTube and Twitch at the same time, but it requires a little bit of extra work, and the problem is you can only have 4 options for votes on YouTube, but everywhere else allows 5. And I feel like 4 is a little bit too few options typically. So sturdy energy is getting the niche rating. Alright. I don't even know if I'd put it in niche, to be honest. I think sturdy energy is below niche. Or not sturdy energy, sorry, physical aversion is below niche. Like maybe I mean, I guess OPR is like the only spot where I think it's like actually okay to run this, because there are a good amount of bows that just don't know about gemming correctly, and like it can help versus that, and same thing with muskets. So it's like you have 2 circumstances there where it's like kind of nice. Yeah, okay. Let's stick to the Twitch one for now then. Okay, next up we have harnessing. I'm linking to fire harnessing here, but we're just talking about harnessing in general because there's just so many of them. It's an essing. So harnessing is like used for a lot of like squishy builds. Physical aversion's good for Molly as well, not just rainfall, isn't it? I'm so lost right now. What is like Maelstrom? What is Molly? Oh, like Blunderbuss? Like I'm so confused. I don't know what Molly is. But Firestorm or fire harnessing is I think it's decent for fire stuff. Any form of harnessing is like tends to be pretty good for musket or like really squishy builds. I think for everyone else it's like not as good. It's like kind of better for glass cannon builds. Rainfall and Molly, are we playing New World still? I'm not sure. That's why I'm confused. Sorry, typing issue while I'm driving. Wait, don't type and drive. No, you're not supposed to do that. Please don't type and drive. Oh, God. Oh no. Okay. We got a toss up between B and C. I'm probably gonna say that this is It's really good for like one class, and I think that's it. Like it's really good for squishy DPS classes. In four of those classes, I think it's better in open world mode. So that would be like OPR, FFA Island. So I'm actually going to be pretty aggressive here and put it in the A tier because I think it's good for those builds in like multiple modes. For you guys, I'm going to put it in B, I think. You got the Keen Speed boots, and I'm just running it with the Inferno Hatchet. That shit is insane. Yeah, the Keen Speed boots they are so lit, but you can only get them like once per week. Like it's the only option you have. Like it's like relatively rare to actually get them. The daily crates can't drop them. You one-tapped it? I'm so jealous, I'm not gonna lie. That's like, I got the medium boots, which are also really, really good, but that's like, the heavy boots are so good. Next up we got thrust conditioning. So thrust conditioning, same thing as slash conditioning, same thing as strike conditioning. If you get hit from an attack, that is thrust damage. This will apply. This will prevent subsequent damage that's incoming. So it's like if you take a lot of thrust burst damage all at once, this can be very good, but if you're not taking thrust damage as often, it can not be as good as other conditioning perks. Because I think thrust damage tends to be a little bit more bursty, I tend to find this perk is a lot less good than slash conditioning, because slash damage is like very consistent when it's being applied to you. It's not hitting super hard every single time, versus thrust is more like bam, bam, like it hits like a little bit harder, but like less often, if that makes sense. It's definitely a good perk to have, though. Like, you're never upset about getting conditioning. I mean, that's conditioning in general. You're never upset about having conditioning. Like, it's always useful to some extent. But some of them are a little bit more a little bit more useful than others, and I think slash is probably the most useful. So we got B, S, A. So S is a little bit weighted higher than a B would be. Or wait, no. Would this be A or would it be B? I think it would be A because of the S. Because, yeah, the S would put it a little bit over the top, I think. Because S is slightly stronger than the B rating, and B is closer. No, it doesn't even matter. What am I even talking about? It could be A or it could be, I'm tired. Okay, it could be A or it could be B. I'm just gonna put it to A for now. I think it's a good perk to have. You guys are A as well. Man, I need to take a day to like just chill. I feel like my brain is fried. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, next up we got health. Health is really good for really tanky builds, also really good for really squishy builds, except in PvP. So I'm gonna actually reverse that. I think shirking heals is pretty much always better than health for squishy builds. For like super tanky builds, health is kind of nice because it works versus burst damage. Do 15% slash gem and 15 versus 15% slash conditioning. How they differ in terms of reducing bleed. A slash will reduce the bleed, slash thrust will not. The slash gems. Oh, so the gems versus conditioning. Conditioning will not reduce the first bleed that's applied to you, but will reduce all the subsequent bleeds. Gems will just always work. So gems are better than conditioning. I feel like health is just insane at the moment. No, I feel like it's not for most builds. There's a few builds where it's okay. Pretty much every build that I thought would be good with health, it was just better to run shirking heals, because if you dodge one attack with shirking heals, it's already more valuable than health ever was, and you could pretty consistently dodge one attack before you just get deleted. Yeah, I think health is better than conditioning for light builds, but I think shirking heals is better than health, and then your other perks that usually go for those builds are like Enchanted Ward, and then like a damage-oriented perk usually. You guys are all over the place with this one. There is no rhyme or reason for where this perk fits. It's S, it's A, it's B, it's F, it's just not C. So I think that if you were to do the middle of all of those, it would end up being B. Shirking heals and health kind of go hand in hand though, right? They do, but if we're making this tier list just for PvP, then like I feel like you don't necessarily run them together. Like I feel like you don't run health and shirking heals in the same set. I'm gonna put this as niche. I feel like health is, at this point in the game, I'd argue health is best for tanks. And even then, like, I feel like you don't necessarily need to run it. I feel like most builds at this point in the game, like, would just prefer to run Shirking Heels in PvP in basically every single mode. Just because one dodge of Shirking Heels is just more value than health is. Like, unless you're, like, really worried about burst damage and you're trying to ward versus burst damage, there's, like, this spot where health is, like, really good as well, and that's why it's used for tanks. Like, I don't know. I used to think health was better than it is. I changed my mind very recently. Shirking Heels does more percentage when you have higher health. That is true, but it's also just better than health as a standalone, and I feel like you don't run health and Shirking Heels at the same time very often. I can't think of one build that runs health and Shirking Heels at the same time. Because you just lose too many perk slots for that setup. You dedicate too much. Bucket and enchanted Shirking Heels health. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but then it's like, you usually run Shirking Heels when you're a squishy build, right? So, say you're a squishy build, and now you're running Shirking Heels. Is health, like, do you really want to dedicate all those defensive perks to a really squishy build? Like, usually squishy builds want to maximize on damage, so I feel like it's, like, kind of niche. Like, maybe for, like, Hatchet, it's okay? But even then, like, for Hatchet, I'd rather have Elemental Aversion, some weapon perks, and some conditionings on there. So, like, I don't think health... If there were 4 perks that you could run, I think health would be used, but I think with 3, it's just, like, a little bit... It's not quite good enough now for PvP. I got Thorny Reflection next. This is honestly... Thorny Reflection's like a Gambit perk. So the trick with Thorny Reflection is that it can be used to proc Elemental Band. Firestaff set's going to be health enchanted harnessing. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but isn't it better just to... Is it better for Firestaff to have health? Well, I guess if you're being healed, it's better to have health than Shirking Heels maybe for Firestaff. So yeah, it could be good for Firestaff. Because Firestaff isn't consistently trying to dodge attacks, it's using dodge more for movement. So yeah, for that class, it actually makes sense to run health. Thorny Reflection. This is a new perk. It's whenever you take a hit, you reduce the attacker's crit chance for 3 seconds, and then you also deal 7% of your weapon damage back to the attacker. So it's like basically half an attunement's worth of damage. Also gives you ult charge, albeit that not that much. Since I only need 1 weapon perk. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So you can actually dedicate 3 rug. If you don't need fire harnessing, yeah. What does 1 plus mean? Do you need 2 or more, or 1 or more? That's for modes. So BIS Everywhere is you could use it in every single PvP mode, and it's really good in every single PvP mode. BIS 2 modes is like... Or let me talk about all the modes first of all. Like, I'm considering FFA Island as a mode, I'm considering OPR as a mode, I'm considering 3v3 as a mode, I'm considering War as a mode. Duels, I think, is like kind of half a mode. Influence Races, I think, is like kind of half a mode. But that's what I mean by those. Miicrow, sorry, I'm useless. Spicy Influence Race. No, that's good. We figured it out. So Thorny Reflection, you guys have it, I'd say, in B overall because of the A vote. I'm not gonna lie. I think this perk is BIS Everywhere until Elemental Band gets nerfed. And once Elemental Band gets nerfed, this perk moves from BIS Everywhere to, like, niche. Like, it's a really big dichotomy, but because Elemental Band is so strong right now, and because Thorny Reflection counts as a nature attack and procs the Elemental Band, I think it's a must-have for a lot of builds. So that's, like, kind of a trick question one, I guess. We got Shirking Fort now. The OG BIS perk, and then it became, do you want Shirking Fort or Elemental Aversion? There was a lot of debate. From a pure damage mitigation perspective, Shirking Fort provides more damage mitigation than Elemental Aversion does, and same thing with Enchanted Ward. It's just a little bit harder to proc. So the thing with this perk is that you need to dodge an attack, it lasts for 4 seconds, and you gain I think it's like almost 6% Fortify. It's like, yeah, 5.25% Fortify, 5.27%. The mods are really, really expensive too. So it's like kind of hard to get a set on this unless it like RNG rolls. But certain people swear by it. Other people swear at it, like they don't care. They think it's terrible, and I feel like it's a really big dichotomy. Similar to Venom, goes from good to poop. Yeah, like Venom's like that as well. Enchanted Ward is BIS for PvP. Sorry, I wanted to clarify that. You said it was not. No. Enchanted Ward is it is BIS for a lot of builds in PvP. All right, Shirking Fort is going into. We got S, we got A, we got C, we got B. I think that's going to end up in A for you guys. I think this perk is really, really good in War. I think this. But it's you also have IGVGs right that are stripping it, so it's a little bit weird. I think anytime you're like in a 1v1 situation, it's just like a generic like half decent perk to have. That being said, I feel like it's a lot less good than it used to be because it's like consistently harder to proc. I'm probably gonna put this as BIS in 1 mode. I feel like I've seen it a good amount in like in War and OPR. There's just too much running. You don't want to dodge all the time to close distance, so it's like I feel like it's not as good then. But War, it's like a pretty decent option. 3v3, it's not bad, but I think there's better options. And same thing with like in 1v1 situations. But it can proc relatively consistently in 1v1s. The main thing with this is it's just like it's less good than tumblers, and like everyone runs tumblers, and you don't really want to go all in on the shirking mechanic usually for that. All right, now we got Shirking Heals. Shirking Heals is kind of a OG PvP perk. It at one point it was broken, and then it was nerfed, and then everyone thought it was useless, and then people thought about it for a bit, and then it was good enough to be run for a good amount of builds. So builds that come to mind when I think of this perk being good, Hatchet. It's really good with this perk because you dodge a lot with that build. Dodge attacks. Spears usually pretty good with this perk. SNS, if you're going a little bit more offensive, is half decent with it. In general, I think it's a good perk for Kill Squad in War. I think it's a best in slot perk for OPR. It's a best in slot perk for 3v3, and it's a best in slot perk for FFA Island. In spots where you have consistent heals, I think it's a little bit less good, but it's still good enough to consider running, especially if you're running Ankh, because that will make this effect even more powerful. And the other noteworthy mechanic with this is if you dodge once with this perk, you will heal as much, if not more, than if you ran health, like the perk health. So, in most circumstances, I'd say it's better than health. But in spots where you're being consistently healed, or you're not looking to dodge attacks, but you're looking to dodge for movement, I think it's not as good. So you guys have this in A. I think this perk... See, if I'm looking at modes, I'd say OPR 100% BIS, 3v3 100% BIS, FFA Island 100% BIS. That's already 3 modes. I put it in S. War, I think it's a little bit more niche, but those 3 modes are 3 modes. So, like, I'd say in War, even in War, like, I think you can run it for half the builds in War, and you're fine with that. Enchanted, good to know, based off your recent videos have gotten away from Enchanted PvP, went back to Shirking Heals, Shirking Fort, and Conditioning. I mean, that's a nice setup too, it's just you have to be able to consistently dodge, right? And it works. Okay, now we got Enchanted Ward. Should change the letters up in the pool to match the letters on the sheet. I don't have an E on the sheet. What are you saying? I have an F. You're just trolling me. I type out the full thing, but I'd have to type it out every single time, and I don't want to copy paste 5 times. So I'm just doing a 1 letter. Elemental version. Really good versus elemental burst damage. Really good versus detonate. Because of the detonate thing, it turns out to be basically BIS for War. Because of the BIS versus fire staff thing, it's basically really good everywhere. Because musket exists, it's relatively good in open world. It tends to just get value. The spot where this doesn't get value if you have if you have melees consistently on you, which can be in War. Like if you're a build that isn't near where detonates explode, aka the point, elemental version has less value usually, but In most circumstances, it gets a good amount of value. Counted by Void Blade. Void Blade's a melee attack, though. It's credited as melee, not ranged. Or countered by Void Blade. Yeah, it is countered by Void Blade. As a medium SNS hatchet, how about shirking heal / shirking fort / slash conditioning? That's a very good option for that. But shirking fort is... Yeah, if you're a medium, that's a very good option. I was going to say if you're light, I'd say no, but medium, yes. So you guys have this in S. I tend to agree. Now we got Vigor. Vigor is an anti-dot perk. The main thing that is noteworthy about Vigor is that it works off of base duration, not total duration. This is different from the artifact that has a unique perk that reduces both Vigor, or that has Vigor and Invig built into each other. That one works off a total. But because this works off a base, it doesn't mitigate any of the extra dot duration from 150 dex or 250 int. So for a lot of builds that use dots, they tend to hit those thresholds. I'm thinking of like musket mostly, or fire staff, or bow. So I find this perk to not really get a ton of value where you would think it would be good. I think if they made this perk off of total duration, which was brought up to the devs before, and they basically said, no, we think it would be too strong, then I just have question marks in my head. I still don't think it would be strong enough then. Then I think it would actually be usable. So I think that's a pretty easy one to rate and to move on. Honestly, I might move Crit Retribution down to not usable at this point. We don't have enough in not usable. Those other perks are a lot better than Crit Retribution. And Empowering Breaker, I'd probably move down to not usable too. I feel like the spots are like, they're too niche for niche. Like, it's like 1 in a million where those perks work. Alright. We got Invig now. Invig, I think, is a good perk option in War for certain builds, but it's definitely not for every class. The way that you have to treat Invig is you have to look at your deaths and see how you're dying. For me, I really like this perk because I'm relatively good at positioning and controlling like when I die. And the only times I die, my entire debuff bar is red. And Invig helps prevent that entire debuff bar from being red, right? So like for the builds I play, it makes sense in certain spots. But for a lot of builds, this doesn't really make sense. Because you're just dying to straight up damage. So it's like, why would you want to prevent these other factors that could help the damage or make the damage hurt more, but wouldn't necessarily prevent damage from happening, if that makes sense. So it's like if you're already tanky, it's a good perk to have, but if you aren't tanky, a little bit less good. So C, I tend to agree with C. It's a build dependent perk. All right, now we got a new perk similar to Vigor, a little bit better, I would argue. This is Hasted Vigor. So the way that this perk works is if you have multiple of these, because I think you could have up to 3, then it will reduce the total dot damage that's incoming by 21%. So per perk you have, it will reduce all the dot damage that's incoming by 7%. And also, if you get hit while you have a dot on you, you'll get 10% haste. The main thing that's noteworthy with that combination is if you have someone that hits you with a rune glass, you have a dot on you. So if you get hit after you get hit with a rune glass, you just get haste. So this, for all sakes and purposes, is a permanent 10% haste in most PvP modes. So it's like, I think it's a relatively solid perk. Question here, Boltcaster work upgrading to 725 if I don't have access to Hive. What perk would he put on there then? Plague crits? I mean, you could put plague crits on it. Like, I think that's fine. Can you send salve to to Nam Murado. He's a New World streamer. Big fan of your YouTube content. What do you mean by salve? Like, I could send him stuff, but I don't know what he wants exactly. So you guys put this in A. I think it's really good in the large scale modes. I think it's... Oh, that was me. Oops. I think it's really good in large scale. Like, I think it's really good in OPR. I think it's really good in open world. I think it's a must-have in open world. In 3v3, I don't think it's as good. In war, I don't think it's as good either because you lose a defensive perk slot, but it's still decent. Like, I think I'm probably going to put it in A because I think it's good in at least 2 modes here. Brazilian streamer, the one that uploaded the Bode video. Yeah, I could host him. If that's what you're asking, like at the end, but like I'm probably gonna be on for another hour. I don't know if he'll be up then. No? What? Oh, Salva's like saying higher greetings in Italian? Oh! Yeah. Is he in here right now? Giving a shout out? Yeah, I mean, that bow video is really helpful. Oh, I'll clip for him? Okay. Yeah. Hi, Nam Orito. Appreciate it. The bow video is really helpful, though, because we were able to get that bug reported. AGS should have a bug fixing patch, too, that is coming on Tuesday, because every time they take away an event, that's an opportunity for them to fix bugs. That's often when they actually fix bugs, and we don't know what bugs they're going to fix, what exploits they're going to fix, but I'm hoping something will come then. So his findings were really, really helpful. I appreciate him linking that video. And hopefully AGS will actually fix stuff. Okay, now we got Freedom. All the bruisers like this perk. A lot of war players like this perk. I feel like no one else really enjoys this perk though. At this point. At one point it was like really, really mandatory to run this because there's a lot of one-shot combo builds. And then AGS nerfed the crap out of all the one-shot combo builds, and now it's like, it's a really nice perk to have, but like unimpeded, it's like almost better Freedom at this point, in my opinion. You need to run this on, to some degree, on healers if you don't have enough forms of cleanse, so like Hatchet or like Stone form. You need to run this on Bruiser typically because there's just a lot of CC on point. Otherwise, not as commonly run because of 300 dex, and a lot of builds use 300 dex. I think it's a really good perk to have in war. And outside of that, I think it's niche. So you guys, I think, have this in A. So I'll put it there. I'm thinking about putting it in B. I think it's mostly good in war. Did you see the new heavy attack, how they're performing and how it's changing? I saw your video on it, Alter. I didn't make it quite to the end, but I saw you looking at the heavy attack and how you can make it faster. There's a lot of like bugs with heavy attacks right now too for like animation cancels / exploits with like bow and stuff. Okay, last perk that we got refreshing. Appreciate it, Jordan. War healer here, 2 freedoms are the breakpoint to get away from some nasty combos. Gotcha, so it's still necessary, you think? So even then, like in OPR, like it's really good to get away from certain combos as well. Like I think especially with like social distance throw right now. Refreshing is pretty good for fire staff, I think at this point, although not as commonly forced. Really, really good for healer. Pretty strong for IGVG. Basically mandatory for flail. Other classes, I don't think they really use it. So it's like, it's kind of build specific, but for those builds that like it, they like it basically everywhere. I think you guys are going to end up at the A. Looks pretty decisive. I'm going to say this is a really, really good perk. Basically, is it really good everywhere? 3v3, I don't think it's good. A 1v1, I don't think it's good. I think there's better options there. I think it's good in every other mode, though. I'm going to end up putting it in A. And the reason why I don't think it's good in the smaller scale modes is those smaller scale modes tend to be more about your, like, auto attack damage and just, like, kind of your neutral game, and refreshing doesn't really get you anywhere there. So that's where we ended up in terms of like the actual outcome here. You guys ended up with 2 perks in S tier, Enchanted Ward and Elemental Aversion. Very respectful, both are very good perks. A lot of perks in A tier, so there's a lot of perks that are at least viable in a couple of modes and are at least valuable. And not really any perks at the back end of the spectrum that aren't usable. It's like just Vigor, Grit Ward, Crit Retribution, you could argue you could use in certain builds. Like, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I think are a little bit worse than, or like they're like a tier worse than almost everything else. Empowering Breakers also, like, you really have to be forcing attack for that one to be good. Physical Aversion, I think, is like basically just an OPR perk. So this kind of makes sense. The Thorny Reflection I still think is really low for the gimmicky reason I stated earlier, where Elemental Ban with Thorny Reflection is just stupid strong right now, and you can't get away from it. I think everything else is, like, basically fine. I'm, like, kind of the other end of the spectrum. Like, I went, like, horizontal today, it looks like. So Slash Conditioning I have an S, because I think you actually just run that perk everywhere. Enchanted Ward for, like, let's say 30 to 40% of the builds in the game you just run everywhere, and for the other builds you run, like, Elemental Aversion, which is also an S. So both those are very, very powerful. Thorny Reflection I think is very, very powerful, again, because of the Elemental Banshees. Shirking Heals is really, really good in basically every single mode except for arguably War, but even then in War I think it's a very, very good perk to run for, like, kill squad oriented builds. So that's where my S stands. My A is mostly the conditioning perks. Hasted Vigor's a noteworthy one where it's like it procs pretty consistently, but if the map isn't large enough you can't really get value off of it because you can't create distance. The other noteworthy thing is people could actually track you down through the haste provided by Hasted Vigor, but it does help you get away from Hatchet in the neutral game, so it feels somewhat mandatory for, like, healers to run it. This 1+ mode, we got Strike Conditioning, Shirking Energy, Shirking Fort, Freedom. I think all of those kind of make sense. Freedom's mostly a war perk at this point. Shirking Fort I feel like is mostly a war perk, but you can run it in other spots too if you want to. Niche one, only one I really want to talk about. We'll talk about Health and Invig. I'd argue Health is the best perk for builds that are afraid of getting one shot, so like really low con builds, but those builds I think Shirking Heals is just better on, because if you dodge once it's the same mitigation as Health, and you usually will be able to dodge more than once in a fight. But for, like, Fire Staff, I think it's, like, arguable that, like, Health is decent. Invig is basically, I think, only usable on tank. Health is also pretty good for tank, because tanks tend to ward versus burst damage, and Health is the best mitigation for burst damage in the game. Not usable ones, Grit Ward, Vigor, Crit Retribution, and Empowering Breaker, I think all those kind of make sense, just naturally. They're just, like, significantly worse than the other options. But yeah, I think that worked relatively well. It seems like we tried the straw poll thing. We got some good participation at one point, but at the end of the day, you have to click a link, so it's not ideal. So maybe when it's coming to future ones, we could try doing 4 options. It's just I feel like that condenses the possibilities a lot, because the not usable thing just, like, eats up a slot. This eats up a slot, and everything's just going to end up in the middle with not a lot of variation, but we could try that to try to make the YouTube polls work. Otherwise, we have to do Twitch because we could have 5 polling options. And yeah, I think that's what I have right now for PvP armor tier list. PvE will be a bit different. Don't think I really want to try to force getting into the PvE one today, though. So we have a good amount of tier lists to do still, but I'm probably going to leave these for other days. So I want to do it for PvE and PvP. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the tier lists and do them for PvP first. And if people are interested in a PvE tier list, then we can do that one as well. We tried to do both in one video, felt a little bit too weird. Could he maybe add weapon perks? I think a weapon perk tier list is like its own separate video. Here's the problem with weapon perks though. Or not new world builds. Too many new world sites. So if I look at like anything that has the possibility of getting a weapon perk, look how many weapon perks there are now. Like I don't even know. Like there's just way too many weapon perks to like consistently talk about all these things. Yeah, it doesn't even work. I can't even like copy paste that to figure it out. But you figure, how many weapons do we have in a game now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 weapons. Each weapon has 6 perks. So that's 60 different perks. If I were to do 60 different perks, that would have to be its own separate video. You can't do that in one video. It's just too painful. PvE tier lists is enchanted ward / conditioning, refreshing, S tier. Everything else is niche, easy, pretty much. But some people need that spelled out. I mean, health isn't bad either. Like you don't. Some builds would prefer health over refreshing, and like still have lowering con or lower con. But it's like, yeah, usually I tend to agree. What is going on? Why is everyone in the dopamine Discord right now? There's like 50 people in there. I don't know what's happening. All right. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of crafting. Depending on how many people we have, I might do 1 or 2 more OPRs. I do think it would be smart for me to end early today. So maybe I'll try to end in like half an hour. Because I still have like, I want to get that New World build site uploaded, and I know if I don't finish it today, then I'm not going to be able to finish it. And I think I can get to 5 or 6 builds if I just take like an hour tonight to just look at it. And then that would be enough to at least release the PvP part of the site and have something there to work with. And then depending on how people like it, then I could prioritize. Maybe a video for each weapon per category, like melee, ranged, magical. For each weapon category. I mean, that's not bad, actually. That splits it up a bit. I mean, the other thing, too, is, like, I can make all the tier lists that people want. I can make all the build videos that people want. It's just, like, kind of a matter of, like, how much do people, like, what content people want at what time. Because, like, right now, I've just been, like, build video, big build video, and it's just been build videos. And I know Tuesday will be a news video because we'll get the bug fixes. So I'm going to need to test that and see how many things are actually getting fixed. But I think tier lists are generally the thing that people like the most that I do. So I want to keep doing more of those. I agree with many things you say here, but the biggest thing I disagree on is the heavy accent on dodging as a replacement for health. There are so many boomer gamers that simply can't react fast enough to the younger players effectively making dodge a worthless ability. And the old folks would just rather have health for survival. I mean, I'd argue... Oh god. I don't even know how to go about arguing for that one. That's like so bizarre to me. I mean, there's some weapons that use dodge just for movement, right? Like fire staff uses dodge to position effectively. They don't use dodge as a way to mitigate damage, but if you can't mitigate damage by dodging, you either, to be brutally honest, need to go tank, or you need to like play like just a pure ranged build, which is probably why I see how many there's so many bow players in OPR. But like dodging is just so integral to as part of the mechanics to New World that if you can't do it consistently, you're just gonna run into issues. Like you can't really beat much. Scorpion build when? Stare. I already made a Scorpion build, but I can make a video on the Scorpion build. But if I make the video on the Scorpion build, that's the last thing I'm doing today. And then I'm calling it. Are people good with that, or would they rather see something else? Because I think I've already made like a rough draft for the Scorpion build too. I'm personally a niche build fan. The funny builds are always entertaining. For every boomer, I recommend a paladin build. I feel like there's not a good paladin build though. Like Lifestaff Flail, like kind of works, but not really super well. Hey Microw's Firestaff IG build good for PvE like mutations and raids. Oh yeah, Firestaff IG is fantastic for mutations and raids. So you can run that anywhere and no one will be upset. Firestaff's like the most versatile weapon in the game. Same thing with Hatchet, but Hatchet's just broken right now. Spend some time watching older players stream, you'll see that a good deal of older players that, as you suggested, don't clear much. Yeah, I mean, we did a mutation yesterday. Oh gosh, was anyone here yesterday when I was doing that pug mutation for Lazarus? That might have been the most painful experience I've ever had in New World. The hour-long one? Oh yeah, the hour-long one. With the healer sacred that was ticking for less than 500, which is like already a red flag. All the DPS players playing heavy and doing less damage than me as a tank, which was another red flag. And then our DPS is so low for the last boss that they couldn't kill the barrier, get the orb, kill the mob before the orb despawned because it had been out for so long. So you literally could not finish the raid because the DPS is so low. And it's like, I don't know if that's like the average console player at this point. I'm like kind of hoping it's not, but if it is, like some of the content's going to be brutally difficult. Like you need to be able to dodge to clear some of the content. Like Sandworm, you don't need to dodge, weirdly. Well, actually, no, you do need to be able to dodge. You have to dodge when he comes up out of the ground. The raid, you 100% have to be able to dodge. You cannot do the raid without dodging. Did I do the raid this week? I think I did the raid this week. Yeah, I did the raid this week. It was just like very early in the week. I did it like Tuesday. Alright, so we thinking SNS build then? Thinking Scorpion and call it from there? So I have a build that's partially complete and I can talk through it. And we can adjust stuff too. I think this is my first take at it. I need to make all this stuff 725. I think I was using this to test 700 versus 725 at one point. Deckhand, The Deckhand's good for this build, actually. Deckhand's really good for this build. Because I should have enough attribute perks to hit 200 con with Deckhand. Yeah. No, Deckhand's insane on this build. And like 150 doesn't matter. Yeah, no, it's really good on this build. You know, out of topic, but dot damage doesn't tick heart room anymore. Found that out with Butcher. What? What are you talking about? It definitely just does. It doesn't, like... No, it definitely does. I definitely got heart rune tick off of Butcher that war. I've got Butcher, I don't have heart rune. Let me go up here and hit this mob. I'm getting... Yeah, I'm getting charged. It's just slow. It's still getting me charged, though. You can see it on the bottom right with the ticking animation. The Nihao run face, yeah. I mean, the thing with Butchers, I hit one mob there, right? And it gave me that much ult charge. That's like the same amount of ult charge of hitting a player like 20 times if you just had a 2-minute procking. Like, it's insane how fast Butcher gives you ult compared to everything else, and that's why it's used so much. Yeah, it might be UI bug, but Butcher definitely gives you ult. I could also data mine how much ult stuff gives, and I've actually like made a spreadsheet for that in the past too. Because I was trying to figure out how to optimize getting ult charge quickly, and it basically just came down to use Butcher. But let's talk about Disruptor, aka SNS Spear. Actually, I have one thing I can link a leak for this, I think, that will help with this, and I might get yelled at. But hopefully I don't get yelled at too much. Just gotta send myself an image real quick. So I have a leaked roster for War from a week ago, and I think I thought this build was dead, but it's definitely not dead. So this is like an old roster for like an EU company, and it's relatively competitive, and they run a bunch of these builds still. Now there's different variants of SNS Spear. You could have a DPS oriented one, you could have a disruptor oriented one. But end of the day, this is like a really popular build in War. It should be a really good build in OPR. And it's just really solid overall, and it's like hard to get around. The main con with it right now, like nowadays, is that Spear has a lot worse tracking than it used to, but still is good enough tracking to where you think you're pretty happy. Honestly, I think you just stick to 100 con with this and just, or 100 strengthen up the con. Makes you a little bit tankier. But base idea with this build is you're looking for disruption, right? You have a combo that's built into this build. You look for Javelin on a target, you combo that into Vault Kick, which is basically I stagger somebody, then I stun somebody, and because they're stunned, then I can stagger them again with Sweep, and after they come out of Sweep, then usually you're going to your SNS and you're looking to chase them, but they're usually dead by the time you go into Sweep. And in order to make this combo work correctly, you need to be running a Scorpion Sting. There is an argument to run Lost Stopwatch with this build to just be more annoying in general, because that means all your stuns last 1 second longer, right? So you can just keep someone stunned with Vault Kick, your team does more damage to them, you wait like it's another second, and then you go for your sweep, and the person just like has more time to die. So that's the idea behind Lost Stopwatch, not something that people typically play. Naomi's still playing? Yeah, Naomi's still playing, but on the EU. So that's the base kind of cook, I guess, there. In terms of other perks that you're looking for with this build, you're looking for heavy every single time. Not much debate there. Hasted Vigor, I think, helps this build a lot because it helps you gap close. Leeching Cyclone does not help this build at all anymore. At one point I had Cyclone on this perk, so I need to figure out what to redo with that. Void Dark Plate kind of makes sense. Fortify Perforate doesn't help this build at all. So let's replace that with Slash Conditioning. How much Slash Conditioning do I have? I have 3 already. I almost want to go Strike and then do Thrust. But I think it's probably better just to abuse the heck out of Slash. So we have like 4 Slash there. I feel like I make this Slash Conditioning. So now we have 5, right? And I think we go down to maybe 1 Thrust Conditioning. And then we have our 3 Slash still. So or 4 Slash. So we're like really tanky to basically everything. We have our Thrust Protection on Last Stopwatch that helps us with that. If you're able to pick up these legs, they have keenly empowered, very nice. If you can't get them, you can go any other defensive perk, it's probably fine. I went for Shirking Fort with this build because the Fortify stuff felt pretty good, or seemed like it would feel pretty good for this kind of build. I feel like I'd rather run Elemental Aversion, to be honest, because I feel like the main thing this build dies to is Fire Staff, and that just helps a little bit more. So I'm going to change that. You can't run Elemental Aversion and Hasted Vigor, actually, which is a pretty big downside. So maybe we go, like, Flame Conditioning. Like, I'm kind of cooking with the Flame Conditioning, but I feel like it's not terrible. So there's, like, a few random conditionings in here. But this will help a little bit more towards the elemental builds that this build normally ties to. The other option, which is probably better, is we just go Shirking Heels. Yeah, we should just be going Shirking Heels, to be honest. So that should be Shirking Heels. This should probably be Shirking Heels. I forgot that Shirking Heels is really good on this build. Thorny Reflection shouldn't be on this build, because we're not going for the elemental ban. So we go Shirking Heels. Shirking here. Shirking here. And then honestly, I feel like the Lost Stopwatch is too much of a cook. Someone recommended that to me. It sounded really nice, but I feel like Ankh is just better still. Because you already have an infinite combo, you don't really need to go for the CC duration stuff. Like, I'd rather just go for something like this. And how much slash conditioning do we end up with? We ended up with 2. You probably want 3, so I'd probably cut the Keenly Empowered, because this isn't really a damage-oriented build, but it does help the damage of this build so much, I don't really want to cut it. Can I cut one more Shirking Heal? Can I cut one Shirking Heal for slash conditioning? I feel like that's slightly better. I just don't want to cut the Keenly Empowered, because this build just struggles with the DPS output, and this will help the Spear a lot, because Spear doesn't have a lot of Empower inherently, which is the other reason why we're running Deckhand. Gem split wise, should be a standard 5-15. And then we have Thrust Protection, which gets our Thrust up to 20. We have 3 Slash, which gets our Slash up to 20. We don't really care about Strike, because we don't see Strike with this build, because we're mostly off point. In terms of Gorgon's Ring, what would we want? Definitely Hardy, definitely Purifying Heart. I feel like Slash damage is not the play. I think you want Thrust, usually. But even then, like, I don't think it's that good on this build, because it's not really a super damage-oriented build. Empowering Cleave never really works, though. Healing Breeze is a really good tech, actually. I'd probably rather go Healing Breeze. So Healing Breeze works off your Shirking Heels now. They kind of reverted that. So I feel like that's not a bad tech with this build. And so Party, Purifying Heart, Healing Breeze, you have the Ankh, which also boosts those effects. The last Slash Conditioning could also be a Shirking Heal. Very, very tanky. And should have good enough mobility with those defensives. Isn't Healing Breeze better with Shirking Heels? Yeah, it's basically better. Because it's always going to apply to yourself and not apply to allies, and it's usually a little bit better to use it towards yourself than allies. I don't think it's, like, buffed in any way, though. Wait. Reduced by 35% if applied to self. I mean, it's still going to be good. I don't know how much it's healing, but I know it's going to be good. Because people run this. Deckhand makes a lot of sense for this kind of build, because you're lacking in Empower pretty significantly. This will help bump that up a lot. Anything else worth talking about? Oh yeah, Sword, I have a complete utility sword, so Trenchant Rend, Plague Strikes, and Empowering Leaping Strike. So this is if I do a half heavy on somebody, they're basically dead. Like, they got rended, they got hella diseased. If Scorpion Sting, I have Plague Crits, so you have the Plague package, so this will put someone at Plague Cap. So it's like really, really good for kidnapping and just preventing somebody from playing the game. On Spear, I have Onyx, because I figure it's a little bit more of a opener kind of style weapon. And then Sword, I have Emerald, because I figure it's a little bit more of a, hey, I've already hit this person, I can finish him off. I think that Malachite's also really good on Sword. Like, that'd be another good option. On Tower Shield, I went Fortified Shield Rush, Strike, Shield Ward, so we got the Global Resistance package, and then we got Enchanted Ward, because that will work when you have your offhand out as well. I think the other good perk here too would be Flame Conditioning instead of Enchanted Ward. I think that's, like, very, very arguable as well. Heart runes still have vines. Now there is an interesting thing where Purifying Heart won't cleanse the exhaust on its vines, but I feel like it cleanses enough debuffs to where it's still useful. Also, am I dreaming, or did Heavy used to show that CC had longer duration when Eclipse load was heavy? It did have that, and then they removed that because people got annoyed. Yeah, no, that was the thing. Sword and Shield tree is basically just heavy attack focus, a little bit of damage oriented perks. People go defensive formation with this right now. Concussive Bash, I did go for the extra stun duration because it's not reduced by freedom, so it really annoys healers a lot. You could go like high grip or sturdy grip. I think that would be decent as well. Dude, why am I missing one with the shield? I can't miss one with a shield. That's way too good of a perk to pass up on. Okay, I have to change this a little bit. Okay, I might go to that. Yeah, because one with the shield is whenever you're hit or you're blocking hit, that'll extend the duration of all buffs on self by 5%. That should work with conditioning. Do you have enough buffs on you, though? I guess you don't have a lot of buffs on you. You have this buff. You have Empower. You have Fortified Shield. No, you have Fortified Shield Rush. Like, that's already good enough to warrant running. Because you go for Fortified Shield Rush with that, it just lasts way longer. Okay, I have a cook actually for this now that half the community won't like. Go Sturdy Fortification. If you have Sturdy Fortification proc, it will last for 9 seconds because of this perk. Just proc it first, just block some attacks, pull some aggro, block some attacks, and just run in. It will not wear off and you'll feel way tankier, and that's about the equivalent of running like 5 shirking of fortification. Like, that's a lot of value of a perk. You have to change your playstyle a bit, but it's like really, really good. So I'm changing my idea a little bit for this build, but it's similar in concept. I feel like there's not too much else to talk about. It's just like you go for CC oriented stuff. Elemental version's nice. You could kind of do other things for that slot as well. And Void Dark Plate's just really good with this build because it makes you a lot tankier. So, like, you have 3.7k armor, which is just crazy, and I don't think it's even including while you have Sword and Shield out. It should go even higher then. So, I think that's what I would say for like, a utility SNS, spear kind of build what I'd run. If you wanted to be more DPS oriented, you'd basically just go a different spear. The sword honestly could be pretty similar, but you want like a light tower shield. I tend to find that heavy SNS spears almost outclassed by like medium SNS or medium spear rapier or medium spear hatchet nowadays, but you can run it. It is something that's still run. It's just your spears, like, I think plague crits, pen backstab, and then the new other penetrating perk, pen the empowered. So it's just like high pierce basically. miicrow, do you have a budget version of the SNS hatchet build? I haven't made one. If I were to look at the SNS hatchet build, how would I make it if I were going to make it for budget? What would I change? Well, you can't run shirking heals if you're going budget. That's the first thing I notice. And that instantly makes the build, like, a lot worse. Honestly, the budget version of this build is getting just the PvP track gear for medium. Or for... Was this light? No, this is a medium version. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong build. I was so confused. Because I have Spear Hatchet and I read that as SNS Hatchet. Okay, SNS Hatchet. Yeah, I would just go the PvP perk, like the PvP track gear, to be honest. Like, you need the Shirking Heals, and Shirking Heal mods are so expensive, but if you just get the PvP track gear from the PvP rewards, like, that all has Shirking Heals on there, and I think that will just be good enough for the most part. Can you go into the start location on the main story again and how to get deckhand? Yeah. So if I look for deckhand, it drops from the quest to stand against the dark from Eunice. So it's like, I think it's in Brightwood. Or not in Brightwood. It's in the white place. Great Queef. And then he gives it to you then, like around level 50. It's like at a shrine and at a shrine up there too. Am I still logged in? Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, what shrine was it? I think it was this shrine. There's a quest that went to this shrine and that's where you got it. But that's going off of like 3 weeks old memory. But it's like a quest in Great Queen from the mate story that gives it. One with the shield should work with defensive training too, right? Yeah, it will. Or like any other defensive SNS perk. Like one funny thing that you can do is you can go Defender's Resolve. You have one with the shield and just run it down and it will just keep extending the duration of Defender's Resolve. And you just have like damage immunity basically. So that's kind of a funny trick. See, how many people do we have? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it early today. Because I want to try to finish the PvP build site, and I have like 2 to 3 videos to trim down now. So I think I'm going to call it there. I'm doing SNS Spear. What last perk should I put on my tumblers? Shirking Heals. I do Shirking Heals if you're going to go medium, or if you're going to force tumbler. Alright, let's see who's playing. Oh, Dorian's still going at it. Dang, Baboon's popping off today. I haven't hosted Baboon for a bit. What build is Baboon playing today? Is he just doing a squishy DPS build? Yeah, he's doing squishy DPS, like Hatchet Assassin. Or Poppers off, get Oblivion, and then cry. Yeah, basically. Oh, he's doing Hatchet Warhammer? That's an old one. Not really that good, but old one. Alright, I'll see you guys. Peace.